he asked Dr. Indra to present his talk with you now. So the floor is yours, Doctor.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you. Is that somebody sharing a screen there?
Yeah, who's sharing the screen? Mastura Ain. I think student.
It's fine. It's fine. Thank you for sharing your screen. So right now, allow me to share my screen as well. Everybody can see? Everything is good?
Yeah, good. Very clear, Doctor.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. All right, so let's start. My name is Indra Shaiful. You can call me Shaiful. You can stop me throughout my presentation. And I prefer to answer you during the talk so that we do not miss any points. But if you decide to keep it until the end of the presentation, the end of the talk, please do write it down and we'll speak in length with your concerns, your questions, and so forth. So I was going through the whole presentation from morning. I can actually see that some of my classmates were actually here. IR Hisham was here this morning. He was talking about the engineering stuff that he's been doing. So I am going to talk more on the crossroads. Crossroads in the sense that where you are, what decisions do you make, and how do you go about within your career. And as you can see at the back of the picture at the back there is the stadium at Lusail, where the World Cup final was held. It was a great experience. I was there, and I will tell you exactly why I got there, how I got there, and the work as an engineer that brought me to Qatar before, and now I'm back here. So for all of you who are Star Wars fan, today is the 4th of May. So I would say may the 4th be with you. It's a pun. So Yoda said it. So let's talk about the thing that we are very unfamiliar or the thing that we are really scared about. We'll talk about change and being better. And there is a Greek philosopher, Heraclitus, that said, no man ever steps in the same river twice. It is not the same river and it is flowing, and you are not the same man as you were 5 minutes ago. So this actually tells you that in life, a decision, not making a decision is actually a decision by itself. So every step of your career, you need to make decision, right decision, and timely decision. So this is crucial. Let's see about what I have done and why I was invited here. This is actually my third time in Engineer in Society. I believe I have managed to somehow add value, alhamdulillah, to the students who have been listening and asking and networking with me in a way. So I'm currently a managing partner at the Taylors Sdn Bhd, a company, a turnaround company. Is an company that would actually turn around organizations within short period of time, which is part of my PhD research outcome, right? So I will tell you in a bit. And I am an international organizational transformation practitioner. I've done over 26 companies in terms of transformation from the strategy, structure, process, people, culture, rewards, includes total quality management implementation, lean manufacturing, agile practices, and so forth. I'm the author of the six pillar model. Six pillar model is a diagnostic model and a framework model to actually diagnose organizations. And I managed to create my own tool with my own name. So that's a big plus, right? I'm a professional technologist in green technology. I have been doing green technology for a long time. Green tech, clean tech, oil and gas, so the whole process of it. And I'm also a certified culture transformation consultant from the American Institute of Business Psychology. So there are a lot of things, the tail signs that is important when you actually interact with people. And this is very crucial. Some of it I will share today, and some of it, if I couldn't share today, I would probably send you some links for you to learn more. I give you an example. If there is an AI that is so good nowadays that they can actually detect your facial cues, right? To actually tell you whether you are lying or you are being truthful, and probability that you are going to narrate according to what it is in reality. So those are the points that I believe is crucial in digital transformation, AI infused culture consultant services in the future. This is my journey. So the whole presentation is like this. The whole presentation is all about me carrying you throughout my journey. And along the journey and explanation of this journey, you will see the crossroads where the decisions were made, why it was made in such a way. And if you, and you would actually come to all these crossroads, you will be able to come with a good and viable option for yourself to further your career. So let's start with the first one, right? As you can see from MMU, I was doing hardcore engineering, Texas Instruments. I'll explain further. Design of wind turbines up to engineering management. So basically, I progressed from being a hardcore engineer, doing machine repairs, maintenance, doing engineering designs, up to going towards management, operations research, still within the bound and the frame of engineering. You could have it too, actually. So you can actually decide. There are a lot of paths which I'm going to explain throughout my presentation. And I have a slightly different trajectory of my presentation earlier planned. But based on what I saw from this morning, your reception is and your interests are more on how it is applicable to you, how you are going to face the work life, and how are you going to get a proper placement in the industry. So I figured I tweak my presentation and the outline of my presentation today to really understand and to feed the need of you being here today. So let's take a look at my first journey in MMU. I took mechanical engineering. I was with, like you, all of you today, went for practical training, or some do not go for practical training yet. I was a student, and during a student stage, everything seems very difficult. Why it was difficult? Because it was meant to be difficult. For me, between being in degree, masters, and PhD, I think the most difficult would be in degree. So all of you who are in degree programs, you can take a hit that it is the toughest that you can get. And after that, with experience, with maturity, everything becomes a little bit better. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it becomes a little bit better from time to time. So typically, I was an engineering student before. Uh, I was hit by the notion that I was supposed to fly to the States, United States, during 1998. Terrible financial crisis, had to stay back, did work here and there. Eventually, I got into MMU, finished up my local studies, and finally got my degree here. So during that session, it was really tough on me. Haven't been study for a few years, had a few years study break, went in. So those of you who have had study breaks, who have had troubles in uh, getting a role on your education, it's not the end of the world, right? So if you work hard, you will definitely do it. So typically, I believe my principle is very simple. I believe that God is fair. Allah tu adil. So if you put 90% effort, you will get 90% results at the end of the day. If you put 60% effort, you get 60% results of the day. So being an A student, you need to put 90% of effort, at least 85, 90%. So this is a no-brainer. So this is typical, right? The biggest problem that I see is when expectation against outcome does not meet. You are studying or you are putting effort of 60 to 70%, but you're expecting A rating, 90%, 85%. So this doesn't work, right? So when you start any subject or any task for that matter, you have to set a proper expectations so that you would able to be not demoralized, not derailed, and able to achieve your target properly, right? So because if you don't do that, you will be depressed and you wouldn't be able to trust the process. So trusting the process is very crucial in getting things done. So there's another quote that many people start something, but not many finish something. So my take on you for you is to finish something. So plan properly, put enough effort, and eventually you will be where you want to be. 80% of employees at the moment feel that they have made the wrong career choice. This was taken from Deloitte's Shift Index survey. So this is very crucial here because why I'm bringing it up here is because this is when I left MMU and about to start my first job. If I have made a wrong choice, I would learn or I would suffer or I would thrive. So nobody knows, right? But at that point, at that moment, we cannot limit ourselves to things that we already know only and things that are presumptuous. A typical problem with project management or evaluation would be expert judgment. To put in context, expert judgment is a confirmation bias where you have an earlier hypothesis that something is to be the same, that outcome that you have seen before. So you are just confirming it. So same goes as you picking and choosing your jobs. So you feel that, oh, this is not the job I want, this is the job I want. So what happened is that typically you have eliminated 97% of the jobs available and you are limiting to the 3%. And with this 3%, you are competing with a whole bunch of other graduates. Typically, that is why between 3 to 6 months, you still do not get a suitable job because you do not want to expand beyond what is familiar to you. So this is very crucial. And why this statistic is also important is because you have to invest in yourself and learn, and especially in the first few years, it is the most important part of your career. And from there, I went to Texas Instrument. At that point, I had three job offers, right? So one is from MMU as an assistant manager to a facility management department. Number two is Texas Instrument, where I would be leading a team of 14 uh, technicians to do manufacturing, semiconductor manufacturing. Uh, the third one is no, the third one was quite interesting. It was with Hashim Neh to do engineering design, engineering consultancy. So out of three, I chose Texas Instruments. Number one is because it's a manufacturing facility. Number two, it's close to what I do. Number three is close to my family. Number four, it pays the best. I think number four is the most important part anyway. So back then, the first job I had, I was paid 2,500 ringgit as my first job. Had 14 people reporting to me. It was such a difficult time because I was very good in what I do, but I'm not good with delegating, dealing with people, mentoring, coaching. It was my first job, right? So it was never my domain, but I had to learn fast because if I don't, then I won't be able to make sure that everybody is working at the optimized level to ensure that the outcome or the MTBA or MTBC, mean time between assist, and mean time between failures of each machines would meet the requirement of the company. So did that, learn a lot from it, get my hands dirty, roll my sleeve, and do it, right? So these are the things that you should do within the first years of uh, working, because if you don't do it, how do you tell people how to do it? So with the technicians, I stayed until night. I came in before the sunrise. I leave after the sun has set. Repair all the machines, try all the equipments. I fix all the parts of the machine, create new jigs, everything that you could think of. Even cleaning the machines, I did it myself. Why? Because I would like to know how hard it is and how it is being done. Only then I would realize and understand how to plan and how to produce better. So that was Texas Instruments, right? And then I went and joined Norisba Group, which is Norisba Energy Corporation. This company manufactures wind turbines and is a supplier of wind solar hybrid system, which is the only supplier and manufacturer of wind turbines in Malaysia. And this company installs the first wind solar hybrid in Malaysia in Teluk Melano, Barrio, and there are two more installations in Ranau. So I was heading the whole operations in terms of engineering design, project management, ensuring that procurement is on point, supply chain is on point, and ensuring that at site commissioning, installation and commissioning uh, is being done properly by the subcontractors for us to hand over and get payment accordingly from the government. It was a project by the government of Malaysia under Kementerian Kemajuan Luar Bandar dan Wilayah, and it was a success. So while working and gaining experience and being hands-on, I felt that I am stagnant. Okay, over time, when you work 5 years, 6, 7 years, maybe, you start to be stagnant in the sense that you are always in the job, on the job. What you do revolves around job or play, meaning family, sports, whatever, right? So you stop investing in yourself. You stop learning new things. So I figured, I have a big gap here. I'm very good technically, but I still need informations. I still need knowledge. I still need to know how do I do a proper project management theoretically. I need to know how do I create innovation environment. I need to know how do I introduce change? How do I do marketing, business to business marketing? How do I learn about financials? Because I will be running the whole portfolio and I have had gaps and holes in my competency that I need to take care of. So as I was going through all the courses that is available, or I'm actually promoting engineering management, masters of engineering management here, right? But I found that the question was, should I take MBA or should I take Masters in Engineering Management? So after evaluating, I found that the Masters of Engineering Management has bigger value to what I do, and it even overlaps with some of the MBA subjects, and it turns out amazing for my career. So I went to UITM, did my master's there, started in 2010, finished in 2012. Uh, I did the whole works from the PMP work, supply chain management, entrepreneurship, even transformation management. So this is where I started to learn deeper about transformation management, right? So what I am today starts from this point of how do you transform organization and ensure that organization keep bringing value and keep being relevant in the market to ensure its sustainability and ensure that the demand is there for the product or the services extended by the organization. So this is where I start to be involved in transformation. I start understanding more. And the biggest take that I got from this master's program was the method of studying, right? So again, I was telling you in MMU, it was tough, it was difficult being an undergraduate student. Everything is theoretical, tribology, heat transfer, thermodynamics, right? So when I go for masters are a bit different. You can either go there for the knowledge or you can go there for the certificate. So I went for the knowledge, of course. Okay, what makes the difference is because I have enough experience that I can relate and understand better, and suddenly everything that I do before makes sense. So if you watch, there was a movie before called Six Sense, right? So they go through the movie with you. You didn't know why things happen, but at the end, it unveils itself, and suddenly the whole movie, the whole 2 hours movie makes sense, right? It makes sense that why every incident happened and why it turns out that way. So being in the Masters of Engineering Management actually helped me a lot in that. It opened my eyes and it said, oh, right. So these are the things that I was doing, and actually it meant something. So it became a big help to me. And my mission was very simple. My mission was to learn as much as I can and to score the exam. Like there are two things, right? To learn and to score. To learn, you have to pay attention, but to score, it's all about what you remember and what you not what you understand, right? So some will agree, some will disagree, but we can discuss about it later. But typically in Malaysia, it's what you remember that counts in the exam. So I have a different approach. I studied really hard to ensure that I can apply the knowledge that I do, and I ensure that I memorize for the exam. So I managed to get, I was the first student from this master's program to get the pink sash for that program, right? So it's a big deal back then. And I think that everyone can actually benefit from it if you really know and focus based on your experience, right? So as you can see here, when I after the after the Masters of Engineering Management, so I have had some experience in uh, working for people. And the Norris Bar group that I mentioned was a family business. And eventually I took hold of the business. And then I came to a crossroad again, right? So do I work for people? Do I work for people or do I run my own company? So then I figured let's work for people and gain a little bit more experience. So this is where the concept of being an intrapreneur or entrepreneur comes along, right? The concept is very simple. As you graduate later, soon enough you will graduate, you have a decision to make. It's either you work for an organization or you start your own company, have a startup. Either way, you must have a specific trait of entrepreneurship, or entrepreneurship inside an organization is called intrapreneurship. It is when, as simple as without people asking, you are providing what is necessary already. Before your boss asks you to do something, you have already done it. You know what your boss wants. You are proactive instead of reactive, and you ensure that your customer, which is your boss or other departments that you work with, which are your clients, are happy with your service, right? So this is the whole concept of being intrapreneur against entrepreneur, right? And I do not want to get into detail on that. It will be very theoretical. But what I'm saying is we can have a long discussion on this, on how do you excel in an organization. Being a fresh engineer, how do you be an entrepreneur and go forward and move faster in the career ladder where people will see you have matured and you bring more value to the organization. So I give you cases of entrepreneur where these people are working for an organization, big organization, but came up with their own idea that lives on until today. So Paul Bushet, is that how you spell his name? Created Gmail when he was working with Google, right? So it was his first email platform with a search function and high storage capacity. And he felt there was a gap when he was working with an email, conventional email platform that he was working with in Google. And there's another guy called Art Fry, which he was working with uh, the Post-it Notes company, right? So the earlier guy, Spencer Silver, had created something similar like 7 years ago, 7 years before he created the Post-it note, and it was shelved, right? So like a lot of technologies and patents that was created in the university or in the research institute, not everything will hit the market and being commercialized. So Art Fry took the project by Spencer and create Post-it notes as what you see today. And of course, the last one is more relatable to most of you, where the Sony PlayStation, this guy called Ken Kutaragi, wanted to improve the console by that was owned by them, and his daughter was playing with the Nintendo, and he figured, all right, so let's improve the console, and he came up with Sony PlayStation. So we have Ken to thank a lot to fill our times with games, right? So how do you become intrapreneur? It's very simple. You must have unique value proposition and you know how to sell. Being an engineer, you must be able to structure yourself and be able to sell yourself. One of the biggest gap in being an engineer is you are so good in technical, you're so good in doing things by yourself and producing value, but you're not able to sell the idea or the value even to your immediate superior. So that becomes a big problem for engineers generally. Of course, as I say, this is generally its rule of thumb. There are a lot of people who are doing better and some are doing worse. However, before you sell your ideas, you must know where you stand. This is where unique value proposition comes in. So if you have learned SWOT analysis, you keep doing SWOT analysis on everything, everything around you except for you, right? So this is my suggestion to you. Do a SWOT analysis on yourself from your strength, weakness, and opportunity. From your strength you can translate into opportunity, your weakness will translate into threats, right? So from there you can actually see, okay, these are my good parts, these are my not so good parts, right? So this is how you improve on the gap that you have and continue piling up on your strength, so eventually you become a highly skilled person which is in demand in the market. So next, I went to an oil and gas company called Chiyoda Malaysia. This is a Japanese company based in Malaysia. I started there as a change management manager or transformation manager, as you call it. And as I was doing the transformation, there is a big gap in the way they were running projects. And while improving the project process, improving stakeholder engagement, improving risk analysis, improvement of project control, there was a gap that people couldn't see what we are trying to bring. So after the discussion with the managing director, he agreed that it's best that I lead the whole project department. So I was leading the whole project department with all the projects within Chioda, Malaysia, with a specific way of running projects, right? So this is where the internal capability of the company has improved, and the customer satisfaction was increased from 4.5 over 10 to 7.5 over 10. Employee satisfaction was increased, retention rate was much better, and the profit margin is so much better because we do not have any project delays, we do not have any big issues in terms of safety, and we were on board with all the big players, especially in Pengerang. And from there, I started my own consulting company. This is the company that I'm with at the moment. It's called the Taylor Sendirian Berhad. The Taylor Sendirian Berhad is a consulting company that services micro, small, medium enterprises. Typical companies that are struggling in Malaysia at the moment, which also seem to be the backbone of our economy. Just for your information, 97% of companies in Malaysia are MSME, and there are 1.15 million companies in MSME segment. And out of this, 60% of the companies fail within the 5 years of starting their operations, which means 700,000 companies fail or bungkus or lingkup or couldn't sustain, right? So those are the words that people are using because of them unable to innovate. They don't have enough knowledge. They don't know where the pain points are. And this is where, zooming at this problem, we felt that we could help so many people in making them survive. So with the knowledge and the new framework that I created during my PhD and the tools that I mentioned earlier. So myself, my younger brother, Indra Shafiq, we created this company and we went in and helped many startups, many micro, quite a number of small, and a few medium companies. So this is where we managed to bring difference to not only the owner, to the people who are working with the owners, who are feeding their children. They need money, they need income to survive, and the impact escalates, right? So we felt that it's a good business to do because it gives more to the community and ensuring that everybody benefits. So with good intentions, we started the business, and Alhamdulillah, until today, we have had 26 companies, and it went well tremendously, right? And then in 2022, I got a call from a company called Musharraf Properties. Musharraf Properties is a company that built the first sustainable city in the world. It's called Musharraf Downtown. So when I got the call, I was running my own company. So how do I go and work for people, right? So, but I understand that to go is a short-term stint and it's a good experience. Plus, World Cup was in 2022. So that was a big plus there, right? So let's go. So I went to Doha, did their transformation, the whole transformation, changing their core business. They were building the city. You can look at the photos over here, right? So very beautiful city, very impressive. They were building it for 15 years. And the end of development. So what do? You maintain the asset. So you have a company that has been doing construction and development. At one point, it changes the core business. Now they have 15 project managers, but they are not building anything new. What they need are asset managers. They need salesmen. They need facilities management team. So the whole transformation revolves around a new strategy, developing new processes, getting the right people for the right position, leaning up the operation. And one of the big thing that was done was to activate and introduce all the ICT elements to ensure that everything is on point 100% during World Cup. So there was a big timeline phase that we had. And Alhamdulillah, it went very well. The whole company transformed. The company is on a sustainable framework at the moment, and all the changes has been anchored into a new practice. So this is important, and this is what we want them to do. And this is the Indra tool that I mentioned. So this is what I developed during my PhD research. I came up with a 6-pillar model, and the 6-pillar model actually diagnose exactly what are the problems with your organization. And if any of you do have a problem with your company, I'm sure some of you have your company or business running at the site at the moment. If you do need some consultancy, you do want to see what are the real problems, how can you have a go-to market approach which is better for you, this tool can do wonders for you. All right. So what it does is it analyzes the strategy, structure, process, people, culture, reward system into one system and tell you a sustainability score. So what is important about this is because what INDRA means is internal numeric diagnostic and external root cause assessment. For an organization, there are external environment that would impact the internal environment of the organization that would contribute to the revenue, to the profit, to the customer satisfaction, and to the employee satisfaction. So what are the external environment that is affecting your business? That would be political, economical, technological, social, legal, and environment. So there are 6 items, right? 6 things, 6 aspects will actually impact your organization and impact how it becomes at the end. So why this is important is because I give you a specific example. The number of jobs available in the market as a fresh grad depends on these 6 items as well. Because if these 6 items are not good, the economy is not good, the security is not good, the company will not hire to train. The company will hire for contribution. So typically by research and by statistics, the first 2 years of your work is just you learning. After 2 years, then you start contributing. So in terms of company, in terms of an organization, they are spending money on you and they know that they are going to get back their money, hopefully, if you don't leave, after 2 years where you really contribute to the organization properly. And in a nutshell, I'm suggesting that always be open to areas of the unknown, right? So these are the things that I mentioned earlier. We are guilty, even myself sometimes, we are guilty of presumptuous act. We presume, we limit ourselves before the opportunity appears. So my suggestion to all of you in terms of finding a job, do not choose before you get the job. If you do not have an offer at hand, it's not you who decides. You can't choose if the offer doesn't reach your table. So apply as many as possible. If you know a marketing funnel, it is the marketing funnel in principle. It is a numbers game. Apply to 1,000 companies, for example. You'll be shortlisted listed for 100 companies. You'll be called to 10 interviews and you'll secure one job, typically, right? So it's a funneling method. So play the numbers game, apply as much as you can, and we'll speak about your CV being more suited to certain industry, certain job scope in the Q&A if you would be interested in that. And next thing is to invest in yourself, right? So a lot of us keep spending and investing on things around us, but not in yourself. So why this is important, especially for fresh graduate and aspiring fresh graduate, which is yourself. If you don't continuously invest in yourself, you do not upgrade your skill, and the company will only pay you based on your value. So if you are stagnant in terms of value, you do not upskill, you will not get the increment or the promotion that is desired by you. So typically, if you see some engineers stay in the same position for 20 or 30 years because they are complacent and they feel that it is enough for them. I do not want to do more. I am fine with where I am and I'm happy with the salary that I'm getting, and I want my work life balance, right? So that becomes their motivation. But some, they keep investing in themselves, getting on job training, getting online training, going to separate courses, going to masters, PhD, improving themselves, and eventually their self-worth becomes higher, and the company would actually pay you better to suit what you can offer and value that you can bring to the organization. And one last thing, I this is the same issue over and over, especially it's a big issue when I was talking to IEM. I was giving a talk to IEM 2 months ago on work-life balance. So there is a concept of work-life balance that everybody have in mind. Everybody wants to go in at 8 or 8:30, finish at 5:30, punch out and have the whole time to themselves. They would like to play games, spending time with family, enjoying their free time, taking care of the mental health and so forth. Those are the work-life balance definition. But as era moves, right? If you're talking about Gen X, millennials, they have a different definition of work-life balance. So the younger generations have different definition of work-life balance. Not that it's wrong, not that one of it is wrong. It's fine either way, but the outcome of the work-life balance is very crucial. I see a lot where STEM is not popular lately, the declining of number of students being enrolled in STEM courses because of the hard work that comes in the first part or the initial part of the work. And the hard work against the benefit of the salary does not match in their eyes. So it's not worth instantly, meaning you want a high salary within the first years of working, but you don't get that with most of the STEM related position. So to explain this a little bit further, let's take a look at the concept of work-life balance. As you can see here on the left, there is a work-life balance daily, right? So this is a day where you work for 8 hours and you have 4 or 5 hours to yourself. So this is how some people view work-life balance. But the thing about work-life balance is that work-life balance is time related. It's time bound, right? So some people view work-life balance as career work-life balance. As you can see here, at the age of 22, you have a very small life or play, right? So as you grow older, as you go higher in the organization, you would have more time for yourself and family, and eventually you have a lot of time. And if you look at the green, if I plot it in a graph, it becomes area under the graph, and you can actually see that the green part is bigger than a static green throughout your career. And what this gives you as well is higher salary if you go for a career work-life balance, more satisfaction in terms of financial freedom, in terms of time, when you have children later, when you have a lot more commitments and problems in your life, you need those time. The work should be smaller, the life should be bigger. So it's a concept of career work-life balance or daily work-life balance, right? So be careful with this, think about it closely, and again, there's no right, there's no wrong. What your preference would be, that would be the outcome, and you should accept the outcome based on what you put in. And just a tip and some takeaway for all of you: if you decide to work for people or you want to run your own company, I have written a few articles in LinkedIn which you can actually access. You can scan the codes that I've provided on the screen. One is the Surviving Difficult Boss. I actually did a book review on how to work for an idiot. That's the name of the book. I didn't write the idiot name. However, what it tells you is actually, if you have a difficult boss who are micromanaging and being hard on you, very difficult for you to cope, on you all the time, giving you micromanagement, petty works, very, very difficult to manage. This is a book or article for you that you can actually see how you manage difficult bosses, how you understand these bosses, and how you navigate around and ensure that you are still happy at whatever job you are. And the second part, second link is how to network, right? So I noticed in the previous session, some of you actually asked, how do we get jobs? And a lot of jobs right now is based on connection. And it took the previous speaker 20 years to secure a Petronas job, which is true. But if you do have network, it would be a lot faster. And I have seen this with multiple friends as well. So what I'm trying to say is learn how to network. And from there, it becomes the biggest asset of your life. You can start your own business. You can ask for help within the industry. You can add value, a lot more resources, and you can even find new jobs, move from one job to another, progress in your career with your network. So there's a code that you can scan. The link is below, and you can read up and understand. And you have more questions, please do ask me, and we can have some small discussions even if you do, if you're interested in it. All right. So that's it. It's my education, my early work, my journey, the take-home message that I give you, and right now is the Q&A. So feel free, the floor is yours. Ask anything you want. I'm here at your disposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Indra, for very interesting, I can say, very motivational as well, full of, tips for the student as well, how to create your own career, even with your own experience and start to have your own businesses. Okay, now I believe we have one question in the chat box actually. Or do you, okay, we start with the question in the chat box. How to improve team members in terms of spirit to make sure they improve themselves and give benefits to the company?
Okay.
From Muhammad Zaki Ashraf.
Thank you, Muhammad Zaki, for the question. Okay, first of all, I would like to say it is almost impossible to make other people behave the way you want them to behave without them wanting to do it, right? So there's a saying that you can bring a horse to the river, but you can't force the horse to drink the water. The horse must want to drink the water. So if you are a team leader and it's your job to improve the team members, yes, you can create a conducive environment for them to have a better team spirit. You make sure that you do not shoot down all the feedbacks and questions that people actually asking you, ensure that there is an inclusion, especially in the early stage of creating the plan to execute the job. But if you are just another team member, you can do your part, which is being positive, demonstrate that you are up for anything, you are willing to step outside your comfort zone, and you are willing to take new challenges that is given to you. By demonstrating that you are doing it, people might follow. And if they do, good. If they don't do, if they don't follow, nothing much you can do on that. You can't force people to do things that they do not want. All right. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. We have another question, but I
Sure.
think it's not complete question from Muhammad Adli. As someone interested in technopreneur and engineering
Okay.
management, then I think you need to complete the question. Okay, we go to the next question from Muhammad Nazrin. In hard times, what keep you motivated and keep on going?
All right. So in hard times, okay, there are two parts of the hard times, right? So hard times in organization or hard times in the university, for example, what keeps me motivated is eyes on the prize, right? Your end goal, you must define clearly. So what do you want at the end of it? So other than that, these are all noise. This does not translate to any difference in terms of your outcome. So keep your eyes on the prize, trust the process, and keep going and heading towards the right direction. What makes a man, a person better than the other person around him is when he keep doing things that he doesn't want to do, he don't feel like doing, but he kept doing it anyway for the greater good of his target goal uh, at the end of the day, right? So that is one big motivation part. But in terms of life, life motivation is very simple. I wouldn't say it's simple, but to explain, it's very simple. In terms of life motivation, always you will face something that prohibits you from having a happy life. There's always something. Families are in trouble, uh, somebody got sick, financial problems, some got divorced, break up with the wife, with the girlfriend, not being able to find a girlfriend. So a lot of things that happens that would derail you and keep you down and prohibits you from waking up in the morning and try to perform the best. But what I want to say is this, very simple, right? There is a book by Yasmin Mogahit, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Reclaim Your Heart. Is where you keep Allah in your heart and you keep everything else in your hands. But what we normally do is we keep things, material, family, and all the non-permanent things in our heart, and we keep Allah in our hand. So what happened is that when something that is not permanent, we lost it and it's gone from us, there is an empty part within our heart, and we feel very depressed and sad, and we are not able to move on. So the idea is to keep Allah in your heart and keep everything else, materials, son, wife, husband, father, everything else in the hand, and if you were to lose it, you would still have full heart with Allah in it. So that's my what keeps me motivated and keep going every day.
Yeah, very good answer. I can say Allah is our destiny kan. Jadi more or less, if we ask Allah, Allah will give us everything. Okay, then we go to the next question from Muhammad Iqbal Hakim. He asking about if our manager or team leader giving us a pretty work or unnecessary work, can you give us some suggestions how to deal with it? Thank you, Doctor.
All right. The first thing about being in a team where you have a team leader or a manager, number one, you have to give your manager the benefit of the doubt in the sense that there are some things that the manager knows that you do not know. something, there's a reason why he is giving you some, it's not pretty, right? It's petty work, right? So there's a reason why, oh, there's a reason why you get these petty works. And if you trust your manager, he is doing it for you, then yourself, you'll be a little bit calmer, right? But if this is a real thing, right? So the manager or the boss keeps giving you a hard time, trying to demoralize you, has something against you for whatever reason, or he is rewarding incompetency, right? Incompetency means rewarding incompetency is this. Like, let's say there are two people in a group, in a team, and one guy is performing so well and the other doesn't perform so well, right? And because this guy is performing so good, the manager trusts this guy, so he keep giving work to this guy and leaving this guy feeling happy, less work, getting the same salary. So this is rewarding incompetency. If that is the case, there is an issue. I don't know why the balloons are there, but it's fun anyway. I don't know why. The issue is that if he were to do that, he's not a good leader. So what I would say is, make sure that your immediate boss understands your deliverable. Make sure you share with him your plans on work related and ensuring the deliverable is based on his expectation. If he is still not understanding in that, please, by all means, find another job, move to another department, do whatever you want. Ensure that you run away from these managers who are not leaders. It can be very toxic.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. So we have another question from Muhammad Nabil Yufan. Nowadays, there are a lot of courses online for self-improving. In your opinion, what do you think if we take the courses that are completely different from our current field?
I
Yes.
totally agree. Upskilling yourself doesn't mean upskilling yourself in engineering or the field that you're studying only. If you look at the trend, the biggest trend right now is IT, IoT, IoT, AI. Probably you should learn some codings. You learn Python. It will add value to you. And it's now there are a lot of programs who do not require coding, right? No code programming. So those are the things that you might want to learn, and it will tremendously give you an extra advantage when you start working, because then you can do your own reporting, a simple system that you can use, and it's a big benefit for the company to have someone with additional skills with additional value. However, there are also other courses that you should take which you think might not be related to you today, but it is so much related to you. When you start working, there are two types of competency rating. Number one is technical competency, where all the technical stuff that you do and the key knowledge area are all listed with ratings, right? There are the other part, which is non-technical rating, which are behavior, attitude, communication, leadership, time management. So all these courses are available online. So if you do that well, you will be a very well-rounded person who are able to deliver in a very tough environment. So meaning you have a good attitude, you get along with people well. If you have staff, you are able to delegate and you have transparency and communication, ensuring that people understand what you're trying to communicate and able to pitch your idea clearly. So these are the courses that you should take as well. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I think, yeah, students, even now, a lot of other university international also, from for example, Cambridge, Oxford, they always provide free courses online. So just go and get it because it's a value added because industry now demanding memang very high from day to day. So this is all value added that student can equip themselves from the when we have free time now. Okay, now we go to the next question. Muhammad Aiman bin Sulaiman. Assalamualaikum, sir. I would like to ask you your opinion on which is more important, work or life?
I would say life. So, but to have a quality life, you need the basic infrastructure and requirements of life, which involves knowledge, being able to give back to the community, being able to earn enough not to worry about what to eat tomorrow, and to ensure that one day when you do get married, that your children get the best education you can give, the best environment you can give, and ensuring that they become the best person, insan yang paling berjaya that they can be, right? But to do that, you need a stable income, you need a stable career. So that is why the initial part of your career, if you build it right, you spend a lot of time there, you would actually build a good fundamental that eventually you can focus on what is priority, which is your life.
Yeah, true. I think industry or any company kalau you sakit, dia esoknya ada orang lain ganti dah. But
Betul,
therefore,
betul.
yeah. But of course, in order untuk hidup perlukan duit zaman sekarang kan. Jadi to have a proper income tu kenalah kerja kan. Okay.
Betul, betul.
Um, okay, so far ada lagi question from the floors? Okay. From Wan Muhammad Adli Mustaqim, as someone interested in technopreneur and engineering management, why Malay founded IR 4.0 engineering businesses growth that is so slow, like more than 90% Malaysia IoT companies are conquered by non-Malays? Is the engineering business relation problem?
All right. So I started with so because it's a sensitive topic to speak about, but I'm going to speak about it anyway. So the reason why Malay companies do not grow as fast and as big and as sustainable as non-Malays in Malaysia is because of the support system, right? So there are three things that is important in a company for a company to survive. Number one is the capability of the owner, the skills of the owner and the founder in driving the organization. That's number one. Number two is the financial requirement of the company. It comes from, if it's new or innovation, you're talking about pre-seeding fund, seeding fund, series A, B, C, investment. You're talking about loans. You're talking about capital injection, requirement of financials throughout the stage of an organization. So that's number two, right? Number one, capability. Number two, financial. And number three is where the Bumi Putra or Malays actually fall, which is the support ecosystem from the industry players where they are in. So typically, I have studied a lot in terms of organization culture, in terms of culture of races in running organization, and I can see a lot, I wouldn't say all, a lot of companies operated by Bumi Putra or Malays do not help each other and would like others to fail for them to succeed. Different from other races in Malaysia, that they actually help each other. And if it's in the supply chain, they ensure that they order from the people that they know, right? So this actually helps the whole industry in terms of races, in terms of their circle to grow better. And this is one of the reasons why Malay entrepreneurs actually fail, because they have lack of a support system. So that's one of the big issue in Malaysia. And is it, you are asking, is it engineering business relation problems, and why is it conquered by non-Malays? It's because of that. And a lot of grants. If you are familiar, there was a KL20 event recently, right? The KL20 event was a launch event for Malaysia to venture into venture capitalist market where a lot of VCs, someone with money or companies with money, pump in money to startups or to companies at various stages. So in Malaysia, last year we had money spent in this area of 700 million, and Singapore had 10 billion dollars spent on the same sector, right? So what I'm trying to say is from that 700 million, a lot of money, investments, uh, approaches to the VCs are mostly by non-Malays. Number one, because they have a good network. Number two, they put the effort in terms of paperwork. They are very diligent in terms of paperwork, ensuring that everything is there. And when you are doing application for grants, papers, loans and so forth, you need a lot of backings because a lot of times you do not have all documentations. So the support will really help you in terms of getting letter of interest, letter of offer to be included and to ensure that you have traction and validation and to ensure that you get the funding that is required and desired by the company. So that's where we are lacking here. That's what I can see.
Okay, so just saya ada one question to doktor because
Sure.
about this kan when we talking about startup company and then because doctor deal a lot with this kind of situation, is it you see the pattern like is it a lot of Malays itself having the interest to join or to create their own company, or what is in terms of statistic? Either is it conquered by non-Malays or still have like balance between Malays and non-Malays?
Okay. In terms of statistics, I don't have offhand the statistics in my at my disposal. But what I can say, I have been involved with Cradle, MAVCAP, Atla, and a few other accelerators. There's MTDC, there's everything, right? So the ones which are run by agencies that are focusing on Bumiputra, of course, right? All Bumiputras. But the moment you open up to all races, all nationalities even, the Malays are like 10%. So I am not certain why uh, Malays are Bumiputras are not taking the risk of entrepreneurship. But I feel that it is a calculated risk, and with the proper guidance, probably uh, we should have more Malay entrepreneurs. That's the whole point. But I think one of the biggest issue is that it's money, right? So to start a business, you need money. You don't have money, you go for an accelerator program. But to go into an accelerator program, they do not give you money income for 3 months at least. So if you come from a wealthy family, it's fine. You have a place to stay, you have things to eat, you have money in your pocket every month, at least until you're on your feet. And typically, non-Malays have this better than the Malays, right? We have to work for our money when we graduate. So we do not want to be relying on parents so much. So I think that's one of the big reason why Malays are not going into entrepreneurship lately.
Okay, thank you. Because I also part one of the technopreneur before. I have my own startup company.
Ah, nice.
I stepped down because of the bureaucracy, and then 3 years to take to get that 2 billion in grant from MTDC. But
MTDC,
because
right?
it's too long, the grant expired, and then at the same time I got offer for my PhD, and
Uh-huh.
therefore I going to the academic career. But inshallah, in future with my own research, I think one day is my own target as well to have a startup company, inshallah. Okay, then we go to the next question. Muhammad Nazrin bin Nazrul Nizam. Can we say that putting in the time, sweat, and tears into your goals is advantageous for oneself? However, how do you differentiate between passion and obsession?
Okay, the question is, we can say putting in the time, sweat and tears. Ini the rock ni. Time, sweat, tears. Okay lah. into goals is advantages for oneself. Okay, it's very simple, right? So you have a goal. Whatever you do, you have a goal. Regardless what happens, you must reach your goal, right? So it's a goal-oriented environment that we have now. So time, sweat, tears, effort, emotions, mind, everything. Put it in, get your goal, and exit. So that's the rule of success, right? And how do you differentiate between passion and obsession? Passion is a controlled desire. Obsession is out of control. As simple as that. So you have a strong desire, but you are still under control. That's passion. But the moment you are out of control, meaning you are neglecting your health, you are neglecting everything else, and it becomes detrimental that you have to have help. That's when obsession comes in, and it's very bad, and you wouldn't want to fall into obsession. That is why having people around you to look after you in terms of health, in terms of where you are heading, and if you have loved ones, they would actually tell you that I think you have gone a little bit overboard, and that's where you get back on track. That's the difference between passion and obsession.
Okay, thank you, Doktor. So maksudnya dalam apa-apa kita buat pun kita tak boleh overdose lah. We need
Betul.
to consider juga kan, hidup sekali saja. So tak ada makna dah lepas tu kan. Any more question from the floor, from the student? Ni apa dapat free session ni? It's not easy ya. Kalau kat luar kena bayar ni.
Yeah, betul.
Kan?
Normally,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I do give talks outside, proper guidance and coaching because I'm a consultant. Make use of this time. Ask me anything about hiring, what people want to see,
Yes.
how it will help you. Because I've gone through all the process. I advise all the companies, and
Yeah.
you should take this chance though. Yeah.
Okay, kita ada daripada PG Muhammad Lutfil Hadi. What are your recommendations for strategies that we can employ to create a supportive and flexible work environment that encourage self-improvement efforts while still meeting project deadlines and client expectations?
Okay, Lutfil Hadi, that's a very good question, but that question comes in a different level of people in the organization, right? So if you're talking about, if you're asking this question to the top management of an organization, the CEO, C-suite, GMs, so they need to come up with strategies, and they need to understand that self-development is important and is part of the job. Do you know that you are supposed to have at least 10% of your time at work while being paid to do self-improvement? So the self-improvement during work is part of your job, and it's your responsibility. If the on-job training was not given, if the formal training was not given, it is your job to allocate 10% of your time to do your self-learning, to improve yourself in your job so that you perform better in your job. So when we do competency rating, when we do KPIs, KPI will always include your self-learning, the increase of value of a person in a specific function. So in terms of creating a supportive and flexible work environment, you do not need a supportive and flexible work environment to do self-improvement because it is required and desired by the company. But if they do not encourage and promote that, the management needs to do something about it. Nothing as a staff that you can do. You can raise questions, you can ask them to give some leeway and request for certain gaps that you want to fill for certain development, but eventually it's just them who's deciding. So if the company doesn't value upgrading and upskilling their employees, then it is again not the right company for you to work in. And the question is the improvement environment while still meeting project deadlines and client expectations. Okay, project deadlines and client expectations are properly planned already. Being a project manager before, being a project director and head of project division, we have a system where we have planned, we have 3 weeks look ahead for all the project time control, schedule control. We have all the 3 weeks look ahead for risk assessment and control. We have budget control, and we have mitigated all the problems in timely manner, right? So everything has been planned within the 90% of the work that you are supposed to do. Again, that 10% is for you to improve yourself, to learn something, to upgrade yourself. So that's the only way that you will get increment in an organization. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Doktor. Ada lagi soalan? Okay, so while waiting the rest to post the question, saya ada lagi satu soalan untuk Doktor. Okay, tadi
Okay.
based on your presentation, you ada mention yang, okay, if we have about when student graduate, to find a job kan,
Yeah.
keep applying. So for example, send about 100 applications, then from 100 should be 10% can get some feedback, and then after that probably based on 10%, 1% you will success lah, ataupun satu daripada tu akan sukses. Then what do you think? Because now student yang dalam ni adalah semester 6 dan semester 7. So what they should do, especially in terms of CV preparation or interview, how they want to sell themselves in the industry ni,
Okay.
untuk being selected and also get a job lah before they're doing to, yelah kalau tak, kita nampak lah employment punya rate ni, macam student yang graduate ni kebanyakannya ada banyak barrier kan. Of course lah, demanding dan sebagainya itu another second question, but they keep applying but they not receive any job offer. Okay.
Okay. So number one would be your CV, right? Let's go to the basics of preparing your own CV. And CV ni kena ATS compliant. ATS tu nama dia Applicant Tracking System. Applicant Tracking System ni is the first layer of filtering where 90 to 92% of the CV that is submitted to an organization being filtered and blocked, right? So why they do that is because right now it's an employer's market. Hanya kalau ada satu opening, 400 orang apply. Kalau fresh grad, 700 orang apply, right? So out of the 700, 500, 400 applicants, how do I weed out? How do I pick, right? So I let my ATS to do the work. So ATS will kick out at least 90%, then becomes 10%. So kalau ada 400, tinggal 40. Okay, daripada 40 ni barulah saya apply my filter. Berapa CGPA, berapa location dekat mana, jenis orang yang macam mana, maksudnya race, kalau ada certain company require race, ada nak male and female ke, barulah kita filter, barulah kita go through. And bila the second filtering tu, baru kita decide, okay, inilah 5 orang yang kita akan panggil dulu. So it's as, the funnel is such, right? So the first thing to do, come up with a CV that is ATS friendly. So, okay, you can search, you can Google, find a template, tukar. Memang tak cantik ATS friendly ni sebab dia nak machine. It's machine yang pilih the keyword for them to filter, right? So, it might be very plain, it's not good to your eyes, tak ada colourful dan bagainya. Tapi, it is ATS friendly, take it, just do it. Secondly, to create a CV yang boleh lepas ATS friendly ATS system, you must have keywords ataupun similarity to the job description at least 80%. Okay, how do you do that? You can use AI for that now. So kalau nak free, pakai je ChatGPT 3.5 tu boleh. Tapi I would recommend 2 better options. Number 1 is called jobscan.co. I'm not getting paid by them, so I'm just sharing with all of you. Jobscan.co ni, bila you upload you punya CV dengan job description, dia akan keluar similarity index, dia akan keluar the possibility of you being passed. Meaning, kalau lebih 80%, you lepas lah. So, you akan terus masuk ke dia punya inbox. Kalau tak, sangkut je dekat ATS tu. However, it's a bit expensive. Kalau you bayar 3 bulan, I think it's about 80 ke 100 ringgit sebulan. So, it's a bit pricey in the sense that you're a student, you baru nak start, macam mana nak bayar kan? So, there's another cheaper alternative with AI integration. Nama dia resumeworded.com, right? You can start Google now even. Go for resumeworded.com. It's about 30 ringgit a month. I think that is more flexible in terms of payment. What you do is, dia akan buat exactly the same thing, but some parts of it tak adalah as friendly as JobScan, but what it can do, what it has USP, the unique selling proposition dia adalah, dia dah AI infused. Maknanya, kalau you nak benda tu right for you, you ada 75 kredit yang you boleh klik, dia keluarkan write up for your CV and you can just paste it in your CV, which makes it higher probability for you to get past the ATS, right? So once you pass the ATS, mission is to pass ATS, that's the first part. With your nice CV, CV yang boleh readable, CV yang high similarity with job description. Masuk, and then they talk about your other parts, CGPA dan sebagainya lah. So ATS tak tengok CGPA pun, dia nak tengok keywords je. So baru ada filtering on CGPA dan sebagainya. So in terms of CV, that's how you should proceed. Kalau you tak nak spend langsung, just do similarity index using ChatGPT. You can search the prompt. Cakap ChatGPT tu, you are a platform ATS analyzer and please compare and provide similarity index, provide keywords that's supposed to be in my CV, dia keluar lah. So you ambil, you buat manual lah. Problem dia, when you are applying to so many companies, susah nak customize every time, right? So that's why you need the paid version, so it's easier for you to do. And the next one is timing, right? Perasan tak kalau you apply malam-malam, normally students suka apply. Tengah-tengah malam start applying, kerja banyak-banyak kan. And you don't get the call back. They don't even view your CV because orang kerja siang. So the best time is antara pagi tu pukul 8 sampai pukul 12 atau pukul 1 tu, that's the best time to apply. So every day, block that time, apply during that time, because if it comes during their working hours, when they are on the system, there is an alert to them and they will actually view. High chances that keluar, without filtering, they click dulu, tengok. So there are chances to do that, right? So in terms of recruitment perspective, apply during the morning session and you will get higher chances. Again, ATS friendly CV, run through the keywords with matching platform and apply during 8 to 12 in the morning. That would help you.
Saya rasa sangat-sangat useful lah untuk all students, kerana zaman sekarang ni dah berbeza dengan zaman dulu kan. Dulu zaman saya 10 tahun yang lalu masih manual, print CV hantar ke kilang kan, kita drop dekat counter either guard ke, nanti HR datang, guard tu akan bagi dekat HR. Itu cara kita dulu. But nowadays satu post more than 1,000 sometimes kan, kalau kita tengok dekat job seeker tu, sometimes kita applicant yang 4,000 dah, memang high chancesnya memang tak ada lah. Okay, so this is very good tips So AI does the job untuk screening first. Dan I believe student pun, diorang kalau dalam exam dulu online, terror sangat untuk asking AI ni untuk bantu jawab exam kan. Jadi I don't think this is a big deal for them, but itulah sometimes benda bagus ni lambat sikit nak adapt kan. But this is a good tip. Okay, use AI for your benefit, and then timing, jangan guna waktu orang tidur tu tengah malam kan. So dia pun dah nampak budak ni kaki game ni malam kan. So hantar waktu pagi 8 ke 12 insyaAllah. Okay, so now we have another probably last question. This is a bit of sensitive question, I think. Katanya lah Nur Alia Asri. Why do companies require Mandarin speaker in resume or job description in order for new worker to be accepted? Are Malays and English not sufficient? Okay, this is question from Alia.
The requirement for a specific job may require someone to really have Mandarin speaking candidate. Contohnya, I give you an example. There is a company called BAT, British American Tobacco. So one of the jobs is actually to approach local markets, right? Kedai-kedai, orang yang menjual rokok. So some of these kedai-kedai, owner dia memang tak reti cakap bahasa Melayu atau bahasa Inggeris. So they can only speak in Chinese or Mandarin or Cantonese or Hokkien, right? So typically, this is the reason why, even though it's an executive job, they still require Mandarin speaking candidates. So that is a safe answer to your sensitive question. But in terms of reality, sometimes, not all the time, there are certain preferences where company Melayu nak hire Melayu, company Cina nak hire Cina, and company India nak hire India. Reason being because when it is the same religion, the same race, pada dia senang bekerja. This is why kadang-kadang just to weed out all the other candidates, you put Mandarin speaking. Kalau kita nak orang Melayu je, kalau letak Arabic speaking atau pandai baca Quran, ada juga orang Melayu tak pandai baca Quran. Jadi tak jadilah juga kan. So untuk kita memang tak dapat lah that segment. But for Chinese, it's quite straightforward. There are a few exceptional Malays or Indians who can speak Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, and so forth, which I have seen still do not get the job. So the point is, some jobs are just for some races, and we live in a multicultural, harmonic environment where we know our segments, and the segments is big enough. So just focus on your segment. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Any more question? Kita ada lagi sikit masa ni. Okay. So Wan Muhammad Adli ni ada lagi soalan yang seterusnya. Thank you for answering my previous question. Ni dia. But sorry if it a bit sensitive. Okay, next question is what is your best engineering businesses advice? Maybe a high impact mistake, advice or career path like he or she could continue to postgraduate in engineering management and MBA. Really appreciate your precious answer.
Okay, the next question is the best engineering business advice, right? High impact mistake, advice, and career path. Okay, the first thing is this, right? If you do not want to pursue career as an educator, in the early stage of when you graduate, there's not much value for you to go for postgraduate if you are thinking of going into industry, right? So if you want to be a lecturer or an educator or a researcher, by all means, right? That is your career path. But if you want to work out there in the industry where manufacturing, engineering, design, and so forth, go and work and gain the experience. And when you come back for your postgrad, it will be marvelous on you, right? Everything will change, your perspective will change, your value will change. But you do need that extra, that base experience so that you have something, the maturity of thinking within a complex organization environment. So itu penting. So kalau nak continue postgraduate, where are you heading, right? So if you want to do engineering management, I believe in class, I learn better. In a research environment sahaja, it doesn't help for me, but it might help for you. For me, kalau saya buat satu research aja, it becomes very narrow. and my industry or my work requires me to be a little bit broader. That is why I was only considering MBA ataupun engineering management, which on my end, engineering management plays a bigger role in my career. So kalau advice on career ni, okay, again, this is very straightforward in the sense that you choose, right? You choose you want to work for people or you want to start your business. Sementara belum dapat kerja tu, you can also start your business and do a startup, take a technology, do a commercialization activity dengan ideation saja, dengan idea saja, you boleh dapat grant dah. Dengan ideation for deep tech contohnya. Deep tech adalah hardware. It's not about software. It's about hardware. Even IoT hardware is fine, right? Materials, hardware, biotech, mechanical framework, whatever that you want to do, right? Cradle, for example, will give you from ideation to prototype 150,000. 30% daripada 150,000 tu is your salary, right? You and your team. So it's fine. It's fair. So after you complete the 150,000, you boleh pergi sprint. Sprint tu commercialization dia bagi you 600-700,000 untuk you pergi commercialize further your product, and bila the moment you reach there, you dah ada income. You dah ada duit daripada situ and it's your own company. You start hiring people. Suddenly you are a tech company owner, right? So you are a technopreneur. Tapi the biggest question is what technology to do. Kita kena start dengan problem. What problem are you solving, right? So what problem that is so painful in the market that if you intervene, it will add value to people. So that is the biggest question. From there, baru you cari teknologi, baru you masuk in an accelerator program, ataupun kalau tak ada idea pun, there are a lot of other accelerator program. Dulu MPDC ada symbiosis program. It was with UITM, UPM dan sebagainya. I don't know whether it's still there or not. And there are a lot of other programs. Kalau macam Petronas ada Future Tech, but that one you must have your own company. Got a number. Accelerator program. So Cradle Accelerator yang baru ni pun ada. So start searching. Sementara belum ada kerja, why not? Go into the accelerator program. Accelerator program will teach you how to come up with business plan, how to find ideas, how to do an idea sprint, how do you find a matching co-founder, macam mana you nak prepare pitch deck, how do you present to venture capitalists, how do you raise funds, how do you ensure that the steps, the validation steps are correct, what type of validation to use, assessment and so forth. This whole thing are in accelerator program. Tapi you tak dapat gaji macam tu. That is the tough part. Maknanya dia akan bagi you at the end of the program, right? So katalah one company called Antler. Antler is a national, a worldwide VC program, will give you 110,000 US dollars at the end of 3 months, 2.5 months, 10 weeks of program, right? From there, you dapat investment, you can start your own company. So all this are avenues for you to start your own company if you decide not to work for someone. So if you do get a job, fine. If you don't get a job, go through this process, somehow build your own company and strive. So that is my advice to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Doktor. So saya one of the symbiosis punya program lah dulu.
Okay.
Dia ada allowance, dia dapat allowance. Dia dapat allowance,
Yeah.
dapat duduk hotel
2,000 dulu kan?
So saya dengan USM punya dulu.
Okay.
Okay, so I think this is our last question based on
Sure.
soalan daripada Afiq Sharmin. Based on your experience, Doctor, how often do graduates get to apply their engineering knowledge in the real world? Given the nature of Malaysia being a manufacturing country, we lack the R&D scene compared to more developed countries.
Okay, my question to your question, I have a question to your question that you need to answer yourself. Is it important that you work in the field that you study? So some people say yes, some people say no. I feel the reason why we are trained so hard in the university in a specific course, number one, yes, basic fundamental. Number two, it's actually design thinking. Design thinking is the way we think, how we solve problems, how structurally we think. In engineering, kita diajar untuk think structurally, cause and effect. Apa yang kita buat mengikut proses, ini outcome dia. So it's a structured way of thinking, and that structured way of thinking can be applied to any situation, any industry in the market at the moment. So if you are talking about working in the engineering world, the specific industry that you're working on, that you are studying, it is not necessary. But if you love to do it, by all means, right? But how often do graduates get to apply their engineering knowledge in the real world? Many. Because ramai je engineer yang work with engineering design company, oil and gas company, research institute, many. Cuma yang berkata-kata dekat dalam Facebook dan social media ni are mostly minorities who do not get to work in the field that they studied and they wanted, right? So that's one thing. And the second thing is, given the nature of Malaysia being manufacturing company, we lack R&D scene compared to more developed countries. You are somewhat right. Okay, we are a developing country, which means that our R&D are different from developed countries. The R&D are more about filling up gaps within our country. We are more on innovation rather than invention. So there's a difference between innovation and invention. Invention, macam create light bulb, create telephone, itu invention. Innovation, using whatever you have dan penambahbaikan. Jadi, in a developing country, the focus should be on innovation and focusing on filling up the gap so that eventually we will be a developed country instead of a developing country. And at the moment, if you were to start a business, for example, being in a developing country provides you bigger room to compete, and there are a lot of blue ocean still instead of the red ocean, di mana you masuk dah kena gigit dengan jaws tu dah habis dah. Maksudnya sebelum masuk dah kalah dah. So kalau developing country, banyak lagi blue ocean, banyak lagi niche market, banyak lagi pocket of market that has not been attended that you can attend to. So these are the innovations you can do. You can go into the market with the local company or by your company yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. I think that's all question that we have. Let me check again. Okay, so before we finish our session, Doktor bagi sedikit kata-kata akhir kepada pelajar, summary from your talk, and probably a bit advice to the student as well.
Okay. As I mentioned just now, keep an open mind. Make sure you, even though you don't like it, the work, the hard work, just do it, right? If you need some feedback, some discussions, need my LinkedIn profile, you can actually scan my QR code. You can connect to me via LinkedIn. I provide my number as well over there. So what you can do is just reach out to me. I'll help you as much as I can. That's as much as I can do for you. Make sure you keep your head down, strive for the best, and inshallah, kalau you trust Allah, God will never fail you. Allah tak fail you. So if you put in the right effort, inshallah, you will succeed. I have no doubt in that. So you also should have no doubt in that. You have to believe that if you really put all the effort, all the initiative, whatever that you have into a project, program, or career, inshallah, it will bear fruit. Probably not today, probably not 2 days from now, but in due time, you will get what you desire, inshallah.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, TS Dr. Indra Shaiful Baharudin, for your time. I think very, very interesting topic, and also discussion with students, all the tips. It's not easy ya. Kita nak gather all these expert dan ambil masa weekend lagi. So thank you so much, Doctor. Probably everyone can open the camera for a while. Should we take a group photo? Um, tu dah piece-piece bagai student kan, babak dia memang dia short sikit lah. Okay, let me change the layout first. Okay, open camera. Okay, 1, 2, smile. One more. 1, 2, smile. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor, for your time.
Thank
InsyaAllah,
you.
we really appreciate your time from School of Mechanical Engineering. We really appreciate it. InsyaAllah next year kalau ada rezeki kita dapat invite doktor lagi.
Inshallah.
Thanks for your time as well. Keep in touch with us. Okay,
Thank
now
you. And also thank you, Dr. Bulan.
yes, Dr. Bulan,
Appreciate the invitation. Thank you, Dr. Siti. Thank you for the invitation.
thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alright.
Terima kasih, Doktor.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Selamat Hari Raya. Ada lagi Hari Raya ni.
Ya, betul.
Selamat Hari Raya to everyone.
Selamat
Okay,
Hari Raya.
Doctor.
Okay,
Itulah doktor
Assalamualaikum.
sanggup ni tak pergi open house kan untuk share
Itulah.
experience.
2 open house ni.
Betul.
Tak apalah.
So
Tak apa.
semangat tu. So students should take the spirit lah
You are more
commitment
important.
tu. Okay.
InsyaAllah, insyaAllah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam semua. So Dr. Bulan, should we give 5 minutes to student or boleh go to the next session? Because we have a panel already.
Rehat dulu lah kot.
Rehat sekejap 5 minit. Okay, student can take 5, pergi toilet, refreshing, coffee dan sebagainya. InsyaAllah kita jumpa balik dalam 3, sekarang 3.48, 3.50 lah, 3.55 3.55 we will start the next session. Thank you. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to everyone. Okay ke semua untuk start? Okay ya. So hopefully masih segar dan fresh masih bertenaga. Okay, sesi yang terakhir ni insyaAllah. But I think kita kata semoga dapat manfaat lah walaupun yang terakhir ni you all give attention and then jauh kita bawa dari UK, dari Aberdeen, jauh di atas Scotland tu. Okay, without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Azri Aziz. I think he joining already. Are you here, Azri? Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so sana masih awal pagi kan, jadi you all jangan ni lah pay attention, asking question. Okay, kita bawa daripada Shell UK ya. So without further ado, Azri, I would like to give the floor to yours. Silakan.
Okay. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, School of Mechanical Engineering, UITM, and organizer, Dr. Bulan, Dr. Siti Rabiza. And I'm aware that this is the last session for this event, and I know that all students are very tired. So I will try to my best to make it as light as possible, very casual, and feel free to stop me anytime during my presentation. I really like two-way communication, so that I believe it will be more interacting and will be give more value to everyone. Okay. So I would like to share my screen and let me know if everyone can see my screen. Dr. Siti
Okay.
Rabiza, can you see my
Yes.
screen?
Yeah, but make it full screen. Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. I would like to share my experience as a corrosion engineer in the oil and gas industry. So, first of all, I would like to make a disclaimer that the content of this presentation are solely based on my personal opinion and experience, and it should not be considered represent of any organization mentioned in this presentation. Okay. So, sebab saya buat benda macam ni kat UK, law dia macam very complicated, so tak nak macam ada conflict of interest kan. So this is just like a precaution. So as an engineer, we need to anticipate risk. So this is one of the practice. Alright, about the speaker. So about myself, I am currently a material and corrosion engineer for Shell UK. So I have 13 years of professional experience in the industry, so mainly in the United Kingdom. So also a chartered engineer registered under United Kingdom Engineering Council. I am AMPP, or formerly known as the NIST. This is a global corrosion body for corrosion organization, as a certified senior corrosion technologist. And I'm API certified piping inspector. So API stands for American Petroleum Institute. Also API certified risk-based inspection professional. I'm a professional member of Institute of Corrosion, United Kingdom, and also a professional member of Institute of Materials, Mining and Mineral. So, I mean, as you could see, photo on the right, top right, is basically, I mean, that was taken last week where I visited Amsterdam office, and photo down there on the bottom right is basically when I carry out some field visit on one of the gas plant in Scotland, right? So before I go further into the details, I would like to share you my journey from start to present, right? Mainly, I graduated in 2011. I graduated in a degree in material engineering from USM. So as you're aware, Dr. Siti Rabiza is my senior during my time when I were in USM. So in 2010, sorry, I go back when I did my degree, right? So in degree in material engineering, so it's mainly focused on semiconductor, where I developed my interest into semiconductor field. I'm really into it, and one of the reasons why I really want to join semiconductor, I apply my internship in Intel Corporation. So in 2010, I did my internship in Intel. As you're aware, Intel is one of the global industry leader in semiconductor. And I did my internship there. I did all the program industrial experience, and I found out that this is not the field that I like. So this is one of my turning point where I decided semiconductor is not for my future, it's not my passion, so I need to change my interest. So this is one of the important aspect why you need to have like a proper internship, because when you do your internship in a proper company, it gives you, I can say, experience, at least like a real life experience. What you gonna do uh, during your working life, give you exposure. It seems like manufacturing industry is not my, I can say, my passion. I cannot work in factory manufacturing. So I step back and I reflect. I mean, what I'm going to do is with my life, and I decide, right. So one of the subject that I study in the as a materials engineering in USM is metallurgy. So I can say I did some research. So I discovered that okay, one of the route that we can go as a materials engineer is we can join oil and gas industry. So from there, I can say that I did my further research and decided, okay, I would like to join oil and gas industry. And I work hard since I've completed my internship on my final year to ensure that I could join oil and gas industry. Right. So I went to, I can say, career fair. I went to different, what I can say, uh, technical talk about oil and gas industry. And yeah, I found a vacancy in oil and gas industry, and one of the things is during my time is technique, right? So I apply a job, and alhamdulillah, during that time, I got a job as a graduate materials engineer at Technip in Kuala Lumpur in 2011, right? So during my time as a graduate engineer in Technip, so I work with a lot of project that cover mainly international project for clients such as Total from France, Shell, Netherlands, and also our local big operator, which is Petronas. It gives me a lot of, I can say, exposure what I did in, as a material engineer. So in this time, I work with a corrosion, my colleague as a corrosion engineer. So, basically, materials engineer and corrosion engineer are closely related. So this is where I develop my interest in corrosion. And also, this is one of my turning point. So when you join the industry, this is the opportunity for you to basically feel and discover what is your passion. So during my time in Technip, between 2012 and 2011 to 2012, I discovered that I developed my passion into a corrosion engineering. And how to become a corrosion engineer? So I discovered that corrosion engineer is a very specialist role, right? So in order to become a corrosion engineer, you need to have like a specific knowledge. And I discovered that in Manchester, they offer master in corrosion control engineering. So while working in Technip, I applied for the master course and I got accepted. And I decided, okay, I would like to continue my postgraduate study in corrosion control engineering. Right. So the course took me about 1 year, and it's very intensive course. Even though it's 1 year, I don't have a chance to, I can say, to like, can say like enjoy, I mean, because it's very intensive. And I graduated as I got a master in corrosion control engineering in 2013. And after that, I realized that okay, I don't have any job, right? So what I'm gonna do is I need to find a job. I don't have a job back in Malaysia, and I still got about 3 months of visa in the United Kingdom after I completed my study. So during this time, I started to, apply for any vacancy in the UK. I can say that I apply about 60 vacancies, and Alhamdulillah, I got, I can say, about 3 interview, one in Norway, but unfortunately, I don't get the job because I only managed to pass until second interview. Is very competitive, and I got offer at the Lloyd Register in Aberdeen as an assistant corrosion engineer. So I can say that, I mean, because you become assistant corrosion engineer, it's very, I can say, downgrade position. It's like a fresh start, right? Even though I got a little bit of experience as a graduate material engineer for 1 year, so I become an assistant corrosion engineer. But because I think it's better to me to have a good experience and a good base, so I decided to accept the job, right? So I became assistant corrosion engineer at Lloyd Register. This is a service provider for a big operator in the UK, right? During my time as an assistant corrosion engineer in Lloyd Register, I work for a project for Repsol UK. I'm managing the integrity management for its offshore asset for Repsol UK. Right. I can say that about 4 years of working to provide service for Repsol UK. Repsol decide they want to have their own corrosion engineer in their own company, so they open a vacancy, and I apply for the job. And because I work together with their engineer, and they know me well, and there's a mutual trust, and they know I can do the job. Alhamdulillah, I got a job as a corrosion engineer for Repsol UK, right? So this is one of the good you can join, I can say, a bigger company, right? By provide service to them, and you develop mutual trust, and they could see your capabilities, your experience, and your competence. I think this is one of the route that you can get a job. And Alhamdulillah, I become a corrosion engineer for Repsol, which is a operator. So as you are aware, what is operator? Operator is the company that I can say own and produce oil. Example, in Malaysia, Petronas is one of the biggest operator in Malaysia. Right, this is Repsol is equivalent to that. So I worked there for I can say 5 years, and basically last year, Shell advertised their position. They require materials and corrosion engineer for the company. Repsol to Shell, obviously Shell is 10 times bigger than Repsol. So that's what attracted me to join Shell. I applied my job there, and I got all the qualities. I being shortlisted for interview, and they shortlisted about 3 people for the final interview, and I'm the one who got selected to this role. So since August last year, I'm a material and corrosion engineer for Shell UK, managing the offshore, platform in the North Sea. right? First of all, and the next one, before I mean, tell you what is about my role, I need you to understand what is corrosion. Basically, corrosion, from definition from AMPP, is a natural occurring phenomenon commonly defined as a deterioration of a materials that result from a chemical or electrical reaction with its environment. So as you could see, the picture on the left is basically iron ore. How iron ore turn into a carbon steel pipe, right? So iron ore is a ferrum oxide in this form, and we process it, it's become carbon steel. So if you let it exposed to the environment, from time to time, it will be naturally degraded and become a rusted pipe. So this is a natural process. Why it become like this? Because iron ore, of ferrum oxide, is a stable form of ferrum. So that's the reason why it's become uh, corroded, which is ferrum oxide as well. So it's back to the nature. It's become more stable in its oxide form rather than this form. And what causes corrosion? So in order corrosion to happen, right, it's required three important factors. One is water, and the second thing is a corrodant. So corrodant is either what I can say, oxygen, CO2, or bacteria. And the most important thing is you need metal, because metal corrode, right? So like ceramic, polymer does not corrode, right? So I also want to make you aware we got a lot of different type of corrosion. So if you see corrosion, right? It's not necessary rust. It's not necessary the thing that you see from the external, like this is rust example. So rust is one of type of the external corrosion. We got two type of corrosion. One is external, one is internal. So first we go to the external, which is this is the most easiest form to notice, right? External corrosion, one of it is external atmospheric. So metal surface, let me say for carbon steel, which is the most common type of material that we use in the oil and gas industry, right? If we don't have any coating, don't have any protection, it exposed to environment. Basically, in the environment, we got water, we got oxygen, and we got metal. So we got three factors to cause corrosion. So from time to time, the external surface will start to form corrosion, right? And the second form of external corrosion is pitting, right? Pitting happen on the surface on the micro level. You cannot see on your naked eyes unless you got microscopic or magnifying glass. And another thing about the external corrosion is galvanic corrosion. Galvanic corrosion is happen when you got two dissimilar materials that got two different galvanic voltage in contact with each other. So example in this case, right, as you could see, the brown rust is a carbon steel, and the background of this one and the not rusted one is the stainless steel. This is very easy to identify. So carbon steel is I can say less noble than stainless steel, and because of that, carbon steel will corrode faster than stainless steel. And the last about the external corrosion is about corrosion under insulation. Corrosion under insulation is when basically in the process piping, just give some example, we put some insulation. There's a lot of I can say reason why you need to put insulation, such as to conserve the heat or as a personal protection, because some piping, process piping, operate at high temperature. So when the insulation got damaged, we got water ingress, and underneath the insulation, we will see corrosion. Because it is covered with insulation, we cannot identify it unless we strip the insulation. Example, in this case, we strip the insulation and we could see the brown staining on the pipe surface, right? For internal corrosion, there are a lot of form of internal corrosion. So I give 4 example of internal corrosion. One of it is CO2 corrosion. CO2 corrosion is very common form of corrosion that we found in the oil and gas industry, because if we extract oil from seabed, right, the fluid, the oil also contain water. Apart from water, it also contain gas. So one of the gas that present in the produced fluid is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, when it react with water, it can form carbonic acid, which is pretty acidic. And still, when it react with acid, it can cause like this form of corrosion, where it eat away the internal of the metal, right? And we also got H2S corrosion, which is hydrogen sulfide. So H2S mainly found in I can say Middle East or in Kazakhstan, right? This is a very toxic gas. Similar with CO2, it also can cause internal corrosion, right? And also erosion is also one of the form of internal corrosion. It's mainly because of the presence of solid in the produced fluid. I can say such as sand. When we got sand in the produced fluid and the flow is very fast, it can erode the pipe, right? So it can erode on the I can say on the, what is the term? It can erode on the elbow in the area of we got different geometry in the piping system, right? So this is like a direct impingement, direct impact of the solid to the internal of the piping. And the last form of corrosion that I present here is microbial induced corrosion. So when we get bacteria microbial contamination in the process system, it can react to produce a corrosive byproduct, which can cause like a small pit on the wall, on the internal of the metal, where if we didn't treat them, it can slowly eat away until until we have a leak, which is the thing that we don't want happen in the industry. All right. So in general, where do you see the threat occurs? Right. See, this is a corrosion. Where you see corrosion occur in the oil and gas industry, right? So I'll give you one example. This is offshore oil platform in the North Sea, right? So we got different part of, structure and also process. As you could see here, this is the process system, right? This is where we could see all the, metal pipe, vessels, separator, where all the process occur. To separate, I can say, the crude oil into, into different type of products such as gas, water, and also crude oil, right? So over here, right, what we can see, we could see different type of corrosion. Example, atmospheric corrosion, we could happen here. It can happen chloride pitting. It can happen corrosion under insulation and stress corrosion cracking here. And also this is for process system. Internal corrosion can happen. The type that I just mentioned, yeah, over here. This is the jacket structure. This is one of the important aspect, because we need to ensure the integrity of the jacket structure so that it can withstand the load of the platform, right? So usually in this part, susceptible to atmospheric corrosion. And this is the accommodation block where basically all the personnel will sit or stay during the night, right? We got office here as well, right? So if there's potential susceptible corrosion that can occur here is microbial induced corrosion and also oxygen corrosion. So how to manage corrosion? Because corrosion is, I can say, natural process. It will happen. We cannot, I mean, what we can say is it's difficult to stop corrosion. However, we can manage it. We can slow it down. So this is one of the important aspect that we as a corrosion engineer need to understand how to control the corrosion. First, material selection, right? So we need to ensure that the material that we select for the design, right, and for the process is suitable for the intended purpose, right? Example for fluid that has high CO2 gas, right? If you put carbon steel, it will be corroded faster. So in order to prevent that, we can choose higher grade material, which is duplex stainless steel. You got, I can say, minimum 22 chromium in one of the composition. Got nickel content as well. So by selecting duplex stainless steel, this material resistant to CO2 corrosion. Okay, for seawater service, right? So in oil and gas, seawater service being used as a fire water, right? If we got fire, I mean we use seawater to I mean to keep the fluid in the service, right? So stainless steel is not suitable for seawater. Carbon steel also not suitable for seawater. So the right material for seawater service is copper alloy or Monel. This is resistant for this particular service, right? And the second thing that we can do with how to control corrosion is by chemical control. We change the environment by applying chemical control. Right? Example, if basically the fluid got CO2, so we can put corrosion inhibitor in the service fluid. We inject it from top side to the subsea well so that the fluid will contain corrosion inhibitor, where the corrosion inhibitor will provide a protection layer to the metal surface. An example, if we got oxygen in the system, right? Example, this is for water injection system in the oil and gas, I mean in the process system, right? So in order to how to remove the oxygen is we can put oxygen scavenger. Basically, it will eat away all the remaining oxygen in the system so that the fluid will become oxygen free. The third way is we can apply coating. So basically coating isolate the metal from the corrosive environment surrounding it. So we basically we remove one of the factor corrodant from present in the metal, right? So that's the reason why we need to apply coating. So we protect the external area. And the fourth one, we can have a cathodic protection, right? One of the cathodic protection is sacrificial anode to protect offshore structure, right? So as you could see in the photo here, is like a metal bar. Example, this is like an aluminum bar. And the brown structure here is a carbon steel, right? So if you look at the galvanic, galvanic chart, right? So aluminum bar is less noble compared to carbon steel. In this case, right, aluminum bar will get corroded first, but carbon steel will remain protected. So this is one of the way how to manage corrosion. And the last one is by design. We need to ensure that the operating parameters as per design limit, right? Example, if the system designed for 50 degree, we need to make sure that it doesn't exceed 50 degree because it was designed, I mean, suitable only to that temperature, right? I can say that for stainless steel material in a marine environment, it can operate up to 50 degree because above that it will be susceptible to chloride cracking, right? And I'm talking about corrosion, right? Probably you also, I mean, want to know the importance of corrosion. What is the impact of corrosion, right? First, to the economy, according to the NACE study, the global cost of corrosion is estimated around 3.4% of global GDP, USD, about 2.5 trillion. This is very big amount, right? So by controlling corrosion, right, we can save at least 30% of the cost, right? Example, like it can cause like accident to the bridge, to the structure, etc. By by having a proper corrosion control, we can save, I mean, at least 30% off from this amount. And the second is about environment, right? So it can cause, if you don't control corrosion, it can cause environment disaster. Like one example in 2006 in Alaska, so where we got pipeline oil spill. So we got about, they got about 6,400 barrels of oil spill. So it cost the company, which is BP, right, about $170 million just to repair the section of the pipeline, and also 20 million as a fine because of this leak. And the third impact of corrosion, safety. Okay, in 1985, right, in Switzerland, swimming pool roof collapsed due to chloride stress corrosion cracking on the stainless steel structure on the roof. So I'm gonna explain a little bit about this. So in a European country where basically because of the weather and the surrounding temperature outside is quite unpleasant, right, for swimming. So they need to construct or build a swimming pool within building indoor, right? And also they need to heat up the water, right? So in swimming pool, in order to control the hygienity of the water, you need to put chloride to, as a form of, to ensure that there's no bacteria in the water, to ensure the water quality is safe for for usage, right? So there's a chloride in the swimming water. And also they need to heat the pool to make sure the water is warm, right? So that people can swim, right? So basically when we heat the water, there's some vapor from the water, and also the vapor will go, upward, right? And seeping through the roof of the swimming pool. So the vapor contains chloride, and chloride at high temperature, about 50 degree, right? It react with the stainless steel roof structure, and from time to time, the corrosions become more imminent, and it could no longer, keep the structural integrity of the roof, and boom, so it's collapse and it caused 12 fatalities. So this is, one of the consequence. Basically, if we're not controlling corrosion properly. So I give you some, exposure about the role of corrosion engineer in oil and gas industry. What basically corrosion engineer do, right? So this is very high level. I just want you to have like some awareness. What basically my role, right? One of it is integrity management. So we need to ensure that the platform is managed to ensure that we manage the corrosion, internal or external corrosion of that particular platform. So we also responsible for the corrosion control by managing the chemical treatments, right? And also for the corrosion monitoring, right? So because we cannot stop the corrosion, at least we can monitor it. So I will go into the details, how we monitor corrosion after this slide. And the next one is like operational support. So we need to make sure that the operating parameters of the process within the design, right, with the design parameter. And failure investigation. If there is any failure related to corrosion, so we will involve in the investigation, and also we analyze what caused the corrosion so that we could suggest the proper mitigation way in order to avoid or prevent them from happening again. And also, you also involve in the design. Example, you want to design a new oil platform, right? Or design a new replacement vessel, engineering modification and repair. So, corrosion engineer will play a role into a design as well, because this is very important aspect as part of the designing in oil and gas industry. And you also get involved in life extension study. In the North Sea, most of the platform are designed for 25 years. However, most of the platform here operate beyond that, 40 years, 50 years. So in order to demonstrate that this platform still fit for continue to operate more than design life, so corrosion engineering play a key role to demonstrate that, okay, they are still fit for service. We still got structural integrity. We still got, I can say, process integrity to, extend beyond the design life of the platform or asset. All right, I would like to talk about the corrosion monitoring, how it works. So this is very basic, and just to give, basic awareness to all students, right? How we monitor corrosion. This is intrusive method by using corrosion coupon. As you could see on the first photo, so we got a corrosion coupon. So this is the coupon, and usually made from carbon steel or any materials that you want, or you can use the duplex stainless steel. But usually we will use carbon steel, because carbon steel is not very corrosion resistant, and it can give you indication if a corrosion happen, it will show you in this on this coupon. So we need to install the corrosion coupon in the process piping system. So this is piping, process piping, and this is the access fitting, and we put the corrosion coupon here. And there's a process fluid that will I can expose to the coupon, right? And we expose it for a preset period of time, right? And after set a period of time, let's say 1 year, we retrieve the coupon, we pull the coupon, and we compare what is the original weight of the coupon when we first install it and after we install it, right? From the weight difference divided by the time of exposure, we could see the corrosion rate of the coupon. If the fluid is corrosive, right, we could see, the coupons got degraded. So example, like this is the original version, and this is after exposure. We could see some wall loss, surface rusted here, and the corrosion product. Basically, corrosion already happened. So this is one of example how you can monitor corrosion. Okay, if any one of you interested to become a corrosion engineer, these are the relevant engineering degree, right? That basically considered to become can be considered to become a corrosion engineer. One of it is metallurgy and the welding course, because corrosion we involve with metals, So metallurgy is one of the important aspect in the corrosion. Also welding. So this is one of the, I can say, very, very rare at the moment to have a qualified welding engineer. Example, in my company, right, we got about 5 corrosion engineer. However, we only got 1 qualified welding engineer, right? So this is a very rare skill, which is very highly in demand, right? And the second degree that we can consider is material science and engineering, which is from myself. I mean, the one that I took. I got this degree. Mechanical engineering also can enter corrosion as a corrosion engineer. And the last one is chemical engineering, because corrosion is like a electrochemical process. So it's quite, I can say, it's a good background to have a chemical engineering to become a corrosion engineer, because our day-to-day life also involve a lot with a process, and also, I mean, involved in managing the operating parameters. So process engineer, chemical engineering is a relevant degree to become a corrosion engineer. So apart from oil and gas industry, where basically corrosion engineer can work, you can work in, example, different sector. First is construction, right? So I mean, corrosion engineer can involve in designing, designing structure, and also use of materials that not susceptible to corrosion. I'm not aware about in Asia, right? But in the UK, because of the cold weather, they always put what I can say salt on the road to prevent the road from become prevent the formation of ice during winter time, because it's very, very cold during winter, and the temperature always minus, I mean in the minus region, right? So we got salt in the environment, right? So salt, when it's react with iron or steel structure, it can corrode. So that is relevant of a construction engineer in the construction industry. So aerospace. So in aerospace, I can say this is mainly on engine and turbine, where basically new technology, new R&D can develop super alloy that resistant to corrosion, especially for high temperature corrosion. And next one is automotive. Yeah, corrosion engineer also got role in automotive. Example in uh, designing a new material for alloy, lightweight, etc. And the fourth one is renewable. So this is, I can say, the future, because everyone talking about energy transition, renewable, net zero energy, right? So corrosion engineer can play a big role. Example in geothermal energy, corrosion engineer is needed to design proper materials that can withstand high temperature from a geothermal. Wind turbine, right? Because the structure will be located at the sea, right? We're exposed to environment, so corrosion engineering require in order to protect the asset, the structure. All right, and the last part is insurance. So the insurance industry that I'm talking here is not like individual insurance. It's more like industrial insurance, right? Where I can say in London we got several big company that can insure a lot of offshore platform, offshore asset, tanker, cargo oil ship, right? So they will require experienced corrosion engineer to become an auditor, surveyor, in order for them to insure that particular asset. So this is one of the industry that basically corrosion engineer can enter, right? Okay, I already talked about corrosion engineer, so now I would like to talk about professional accreditation, chartered engineer. So I am a chartered engineer. So what is chartered engineer basically? Chartered engineer is a engineer registered with the UK regulatory body for the engineering professional. In the UK, we got Engineering Council, right? So this is the internationally recognized title. So with the highest level of engineering competence and expertise. So basically, when you got this chartered status, so basically you show that you are competent in your job, right? So in Malaysia, it is equivalent to professional engineer or IR status from Board of Engineer Malaysia, right? Okay, so if you want to become a professional, you want to obtain professional accreditation such as chartered engineer, what is the process, right? So the process is first, you need to join a professional engineering institution such as Institute of Corrosion, this is in the UK, or Institute of Materials Mining, Mineral and Mining. So we got this in Malaysia as well. And also Institute of Mechanical Engineer. I think most of students might aware about this. We got this institution, right? So what I could advise to you, I mean, since you are a student, you can join these professional bodies as a student member because student member usually free. So you could at least you could get some exposure what happened in the industry, what is the latest development. So and also it's quite for networking. First one, I mean, after you join, you can inform your institute that you are aiming for professional title, right? So after this, after you inform them, they will give you like a form and step how to become a chartered engineer. So from there, you can start, I mean, planning and work on your professional title. So number three, you need to record your professional development for the last 4 years. So I could say that if you are just started working, right? If you're aiming to become a chartered engineer, I would suggest you start recording your professional development from the first year you start working. CPD, there's a lot of way to record your CPD. One of it, you can attend technical talk, you can attend training, right? You, yeah, so that you could demonstrate that you got continuous professional development record. Why I would like to advise and strongly suggest you start from first year because usually people when it got 5 years of experience and it decided to become a chartered engineer, he or she need to spend a lot of time digging back what he or she did for the past 4 years, right? So this is what happened to me. So it's very time consuming. So if you start from first year, you aim to become a chartered engineer. Uh, I mean, yeah, just record it from first year. After you complete this, you need to prepare your technical case study and professional review report. So basically, technical case study, you can choose any topic relevant to your job and any interesting project that you involve during your work, right? Example, in my case, right, I I present about failure investigation that I carry out of one of the failure of a vessel that happened on one of the asset that I manage, right? And professional review report is like a very extensive summary of what you did from your graduation time until now, right? So it's like an essay about yourself, right? So once you completed this CPD, technical case study, professional review report, and then you can submit this to the body, right? After 1 or 2 months, after they review your application, you will be called for assessment and professional interview, right? So if you're competent, you believe you tick all the box, it will be a very easy process and certification. you will get the certificate that you are chartered engineer, right? So out of this 6 steps, from my point of view, people always struggle on number 3 and 4, right? Because this is not so difficult. The only difficult is time, right? People always find that, it's require a lot of time. No, basically it's not that hard, right? As long as you are dedicated your time, example, you're disciplined, you dedicate about a week, 4 hours per week just to do this. I can say that in less than 3 months, yeah, you can complete all of these. I mean, the step 3 and 4, right? So this is like an example of professional accreditation certificate. This is what you can get once you obtain it. So the cert on the left is from Engineering Council that you obtain chartered engineer, right? And the middle one is basically from Institute of Corrosion. This is from professional body, right? Yeah, as a professional member, right? And the final one is the cert from IOM3, Institute of Materials, Mining and Mineral, right? That you obtain as a professional member. So what is the advantage of having professional accreditation like chartered engineer? So one of it is it's improve your career prospect and employability. So I can credit that my chartership, my professional member is one of the factors that helped me to get a job in Shell, right? Because if you want to hire someone, right, you got two options. You shortlisted about 2 people, both have similar capabilities, both have similar experience, right? And one have chartered engineer, one don't have a chartered engineer. So it gives you added advantage to the chartered engineer, the one that got chartered engineer, right? Because it demonstrates that you are competent, you got the will, you work extra hard to obtain that, and basically it gives you positive impression to the potential employer that you are capable. So obviously, you will choose someone that has chartered engineer IR, right, rather than someone that got experience but don't have that accreditation, right? Okay, the second advantage is higher earning potential, right? So when you got chartered engineer, right, you got any other professional accreditation, you are not eligible. So by default, right, y- you can get more, I can pay than someone that doesn't have that. So based on the study by Engineering Council that mentioned that people that got, professional aggregation got 15 more extra in terms of salary compared for those don't have it, right? So number 3 is demonstration of a professional attitude. Because one of the requirements to become a professional engineer, you need to demonstrate that, okay, you got enough CPD, continuous professional development, you being assessed by panel that you are professional, you tick all the box. So this is one of the ticket to show that you are professional, right? And the fourth one is enhanced status, right? Leading to higher self-esteem. When you got that, you will become more confident if you want to give talk to anybody's or something. When you got this title, right? So basically, you automatically you become uh, I mean, more confident because you accredited, right? And you are recognized that you are professional. And the last one, international recognized of competence. So this is recognized mainly worldwide. So in Middle East, if you got chartership, it's an advantage for you because they also recognize that. Uh, if you go to Malaysia as well, correct me if I'm wrong, right? So if you got chartered engineer, if you go to the Board of Engineer Malaysia, I think in order to get IR, right, I think the process will be very, very much simpler. You don't need to start again from scratch, right? I think there's some conversion process, but it does help you to get IR, I mean, in Malaysia, right? Okay. Apart from professional accreditation from Engineering Council UTC, you can upskill yourself by taking professional courses. So, example like Dr. Indra just mentioned just now, you need to upskill yourself. I'm very agree with him, right? There are various options to upskill yourself. Example, if you want to become, for me as a course engineer, these are well recognized professional institution that I could upskill myself, right? The first one is American Petroleum Institute. You can take API 570, 510, 580, 571. So this is like a their own specific course, right? And American Society of Mechanical Engineering. So you can have like a plant inspector level 1 and 2, right? So you apply the course, you go to the course, right? And AMPP, right? You can have training like become a coating specialist, cathodic protection specialist, or corrosion technologist that I currently have. And number 4 is like a welding institute. You can take a C-sweep, you can become a chartered welding engineer. Since these are basically professional bodies, it also could help, right? I mean, I can say to increase your profile, right? If you want to apply the job, if you got this kind of professional certificate, trust me, you will be in advantage, right? So since I'm working in the UK, right, I just want to share with you what is the working culture in the UK, right? So just for your awareness. So in the UK, we work mainly based on trust, right? Example, if I'm ill, I cannot go to work, right? I don't need to go to the doctor to get an MC. I just message my boss that I'm ill, right? I cannot come to work. And basically, my boss said, okay, all right, take a good rest, have take a few days until you are better, and you can come to work, right? So when you be given trust, right, you need to make sure that uh, you maintain the trust. There will be no cheating, right? So because trust is earned. So based on this, we become more honest in doing our stuff, and there's no point of cheating or mengulat or mengula, right? And the second is flexible working hours. They are very flexible. So I can say that don't you can come work at 9, finish at 5. It's up to you. It's very flexible. You can come early, 6 a.m. You finish early, right? Or example in the example for me, right? Sometime I need to take my daughter to school. So 9 a.m. from the office, I go out, send my daughter, and go back to the office. Make sure that I work extra hours to make up the time, right? Because it's very flexible and also it's based on trust. And another point is about they emphasize work-life balance. So they are very, very particular about this, right? Quality time with family. Example, on Friday, right? If you work beyond 4 p.m. in the UK here, it's not normal because they expect you to finish early on Friday to have time for yourself. During the weekend, no, nobody will bother you except if you have emergency, right? Because they want to make sure that everyone got quality time about time to yourself, time to which you earn to yourself and to spend with family, do whatever you like, right? And because of this, it make people happier. right? When you're happy, right, you become more productive. So, and also they are very disciplined, right? This is what I can say that we can learn from them. I mean, this is what I show here is all the good thing, right? So that we can learn. So what I can say is in terms of discipline, example, work time between 8 to 4, right? They are very disciplined to make sure that they work in this time, right? There will be no like a chit chat, sorry, chit chatting or copy, right? Because they make sure that they complete the hours, they finish the job, so that they don't need to carry out the work to the next day or procrastinate for a long time, right? And active participation, always speak up. What I notice, I mean, we Asian are very passive, right? We are not very active to speak up. If we feel like something wrong, we need to speak up. This is very positive attribute because they are really appreciate this kind of attribute because they, I mean, it show us that we are involved in the conversation, we involved in the meeting. If we attend meeting, make sure that we talk, we ask question, right? There are no stupid question, right? If you don't know, ask rather than keep quiet and not participate. And the last point is about the flat hierarchy. So the flat hierarchy is like even you are boss, right? And you are graduate engineer, right? So it's a very big gap in terms of the hierarchy, but they treat you like a normal work. There's no like a hierarchy that okay, because you're a graduate engineer, you cannot challenge whatever decision made by your manager, by boss, right? So in this case, it gives you like a equal opportunity to all, right? And as a result, the I can say the workforce here is very mature. And example like in the UK, right? My colleague, 29 years old, 30 years old, can become OIM, which is offshore installation manager in an offshore platform, right? Where basically we see, I mean, in Malaysia, right? Usually, I mean, this role is for very, I mean, senior position because I mean that colleague, I can say, I mean, he or she very good in the job and very mature and got good leadership, and because of that, yeah, he can become a role that basically we assume is for more senior role. Yeah. So these are the good, I can say, attribute that I could say working culture in the UK. So I'm reaching my last slide, right? So I would like to share you what is the tips and advice that I could share to all participants. Is the first, when you work, find a mentor. Is provide guidance to you. Example, when I work in Lloyd Register, I found I my senior engineer as a mentor. He is the one who helped me to point which course that I need to take, right, in order to make myself more attractive in terms of employability. Right, example, I need to take like API 570 course. I need to have like a professional uh, accreditation, chartered engineer. So, I mean, he provide guidance to me how to do that. So I advise to all of you, when you work, try to find a mentor that can help you to guide you to find a job. I mean, to help. I mean, uplift your career. And the second point is about 5 years plan. This is very important because you need to see what you want to see yourself in 5 years, right? Example, if you see that you want to be a subject matter expert in in this particular discipline, right? So you can plan what you need to take in order to become the subject matter expert. You can take this course, you can attend this course, and it also help to build your, I can say, development plan, right? So, example, if you work in like a multinational company, every year you got a professional development plan, right? Where it can give you career choice, your, I mean, set of training that you can take, right? Example for me, I would like to become a subject matter expert in corrosion engineering, right? So Alhamdulillah, I already got enrolled in the technical authority course that basically I will complete in 4 months' time, right? So you need to plan ahead what you're going to be, and from there you could identify what you want or what you need to do. The third point is you need to always upskill yourself. You need to invest into yourself. Okay. So engineering is a good career. So if example what you see in the social media that people complain, oh, the salary that you got is very small. It's better to work in the, I can say, hustle income, right? Because you got more salary. But you need to reflect. Okay. I mean, uh, if you are stagnant, right? You're doing the same thing, right? You don't have any added, you don't add any added value to the any company or organization. Why do you think that the company want to promote you, want to give you more salary? Because if you quit, they can quickly find replacement for you, right? So what you need to do is, if you found your passion into that particular any particular field or any particular profession, always keep upgrading yourself, invest into yourself. I mean, it's never, I mean, it's one of the always give you return investment that always give you return. Example, if you invest in unit trust, if you invest in property, not guarantee that you get a positive a return. But if you invest to yourself, like example, I took API 570 using my own expense, because when I asked my previous employer I want to get this course, my previous boss said no. I mean, we don't have the budget for that. So what I did is basically I used my own saving, get into that course, obtain API 570, API 580, and when I attend interview for Shell, so they see this is an advantage, and I got the job. So this is the return that I could, I mean, I could say to you that I received. This is positive uh, return that I got from by investing into myself, right? And the fourth point is actively attending relevant technical talk, right? There's a lot of professional body in Malaysia. There's a lot of I can say talk symposium. Feel free to attend it, because there's a lot of positive that you can obtain from that. One is you can create networking, you can update with latest technology with industry, you can meet a vendor, you can meet other operator. From there, yeah, it can create a, I can say, positive circle of connection, right? And the last point is leave comfort zone and explore, actively looking for new opportunity. You need to become competitive, don't become passive, right? So because I can say the opportunity is not limited, it's boundaryless, right? Everywhere. Example, I when I finished my master in the UK, right? I am the foreign country. I'm a minority, so I try my best to get a job here, right? Because I mean, I like challenge. I like always, challenge myself. Very competitive, and yeah, alhamdulillah, I managed to get a job here, and until now, I'm still working here, right? So this is the end of my slides, and I open for any Q&A session to all my participants. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Azri, for very, I can say, quite very technical presentation as well about the scope of corrosion. I think, of course, expert akan cakap simple je kan, tapi kita yang general audience ni, okay, that's industry looks like. Okay, adakah yang nak tanya soalan direct? Turn on your mic before, if not, I can read from the chat box. But kalau ada yang nak cakap, silakan.
Encik Azri.
Yes, saya.
Okay. So saya dah post question tu dalam chat, tapi saya ni lah. Looking back on your career as a corrosion engineer in the UK, what would you say has been the most significant change you've witnessed in the industry, and how has it impacted your work?
Okay. Apa yang saya boleh cakap kan, the most significant change is now future, I mean the outlook of oil and gas industry, right? From most polluting industry now to energy transition. Everyone talk about energy transition, right? And one of the factors that affecting energy transition is how this industry can stay relevant, right? So apa yang saya nampak, macam a lot of asset, they want to make sure that they can I can say produce as long as they could. So mostly they design for 25 years. Bagaimana dia orang nak I mean industri ni nak nampak dia orang tak dia macam develop a new field. What I can do is macam sorry, I need to rephrase this. So ni dia nak perlu nampak macam dia boleh sustain lagi lama instead of invest a new project, right? So dia kena demonstrate that dia boleh sorry, I need to rephrase this.
Okay, sebab ada certain tu memang Shell in advance dah bagi tahu lah, banyak benda yang agak confidential. So it's okay to reframe it a bit your sentence, Azri.
Dari industri, dari sebab yang operator also want to show that they are committed to energy transition. At the same time, diorang also nak kena produce as much as they can untuk keep profitable, right? So in order to do that, they put emphasis in corrosion management. Diorang kena make sure that diorang punya existing asset can last longer. So this is the importance of life extension. This is where the role of a corrosion engineer kena play a big role to ensure that the asset lasts as possible. It's more than design life. So rather than we decommission the asset, example, asset in Malaysia pun banyak-banyak yang old. So kita also kena demonstrate that it can last longer, so that dia tak nampak yang kita waste the existing infrastructure, at the same time maintain profitable. So this is the opposition that I would see, right?
Okay, thank you Mr. Azri. Okay, banyak soalan di sini, but saya bacakanlah untuk diorang. Okay, soalan dari Nur Diana Alisa. How do you start getting used to a new country? Do you ever feel homesick or miss home during this time?
So saya boleh cakap yes, sometimes saya homesick, tapi now used to it. Saya balik every year, especially during raya. Tapi raya tahun ni saya tak balik. Now the good thing is about we got technology, we got FaceTime. I always communicate with my family. And one of the big things that helped me to beat the homesick is got friends and family here. So we got quite a sizable uh, Malaysian community in Aberdeen. So we always got a gathering. So that helps I mean, for the homesicks. And also need to consider as well. I mean, now it's common Malaysian working abroad. So benda ni is a very common thing. And I think the trend will continue because opportunity everywhere. Bumi ni luas and globalization, and Malaysian are very talented, are very appreciated all around the world. So don't feel afraid to try any opportunity outside. Take the challenge and always, I mean, give a try. I mean, they're always. I mean, if you are not happy, there's always option for you to go back. Right. Example for my case, right? I mean, I also plan to go back, settle back in Malaysia after I done, probably after several years abroad. So I also got a plan to settle back in Malaysia because for me, Malaysia is home. And yeah, that's my opinion to this.
But I think kalau di UK, yes, friends memang support system dengan kawan-kawan tu kan very important lah kita dapat rasa. Contoh, okay, how long you been in UK already, Azri?
So this is my 12th years in the UK.
Dah dapat permanent resident lah kan?
So saya dah dapat permanent resident dekat UK sebab visa only valid until 6 years, right? So in order to qualify, I mean, to extend my stay, I need to have like a permanent resident in UK. So I don't need a visa anymore. Yeah.
Okay, if talking about potential yes, I agree that Malaysian is very talented actually, but we always underrated ourselves. Do you agree with that? What do you think?
Yes. I can say that Malaysia are very talented, very hardworking. We got good reputation in. I can say if you work abroad, like we got good reputation. I think the only things that basically the downside from what I can say from Malaysia, we are very, sometimes we are very passive, right? We are very shy. We don't want to show that. I mean, our opinion. We don't want to demonstrate that we are capable. So I think that's the attribute that probably we can basically improve, right? So to show that we are, I mean, very very vocal, right?
Betul lah.
So yeah.
Betul. Dalam kelas sebab tu lah encourage so tanya soalan. So jadi aktif instead of passive. Dekat industri nampak kan very important If you looking forward to be promoted, to strengthen yourself in your industry tu, you should change your personality lah kan. So at the university level lah you develop all this skill. Okay, we go to the next question. Banyak soalan nanti tak sempat habis. Okay.
Tak apa, saya ada masa, don't worry.
Yeah, okay. From Muhammad Zakri Ashraf, in the future, is there any job scope in mechatronic engineering in companies such as Petronas or Shell? So
Saya
kita ada
cakap,
mechatronic student juga dalam ni, yes.
Saya cakap yes, as long as, I mean, you could demonstrate your capability. And then one of the key is no matter what is your engineering degree, right? But in your CV, if you demonstrate that you are capable, I mean, you show your skills, because I think what I could say that 80% of what I learn in my degree, only 20% that I apply, right? So degree itself is just it's a ticket for you, right? But the most important is apart from getting I can say, good result. I mean, you also have like a good CV, good resume, because these are the one that differentiate you with other candidate. How you want to upsell yourself when you apply for the job, right? Because I think what kind of degree, I think it's important if you want to apply for a specific role, right? But as long as your engineering degree, you get proper experience, you got, I mean, good internship experience in certain company, because it demonstrate to the recruiter or HR that yeah, you are capable. And what I would like to suggest to, I mean, to the final year student, go to, I mean, any resume improvement class, because these are very important. Can suggest several, I can say, good CV coach to upskill, to uplift your profile. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope
Next.
I answer
Yeah.
your question.
Ya, kalau dia sebelum sampai jadi boleh tanya sekali lagi. Okay, I think dalam mekatronik ni lebih kepada apa robotic, automation dan sebagainya. I think yes, they have futures a lot in Petronas and
Yes.
Shell pun. Ya,
So
dia
I can.
bukannya limit kepada macam material, chemical, mechanical. Tadi kalau you all tengok, as represented, dekat satu pipeline kan, kat situ boleh nampak yang corrosion di mana, material di mana, mechanical di mana, chemical di mana. So setiap element of the engineering tu, when it come together and then dapatlah hasil dia. Yes.
So Dr. Rabiza, saya just nak tambah, lupa nak cakap. So kalau mechatronic engineering, one of the discipline that basically applicable for mechatronic engineering is instrument engineer or electrical engineer, right? Because instrument engineer ni dia deal dengan banyak, sensor, dengan banyak electronic interface dekat offshore platform. So I can say that's the thing. The oil and gas industry is very big. I can say it's very wide discipline. It's not like a specific to particular I can say subject. So yang saya present mainly based on material and corrosion only. It's very one of the I can say sub discipline within in this industry. Actually, it's very big. So I think one of the thing that important is awareness, where basically you can apply your skill and degree, right? Apa yang saya notice masa saya degree tu, we don't have that kind of awareness because kita tak ada macam exposure apa yang career route yang kita boleh buat. So and this event, right, is very good because it's one of the event that should give you awareness and exposure to you what you can do with your degree and career option.
Okay, very good answer, Mr. Azri. Okay, we go to the next question. What is the most common necessary upskill certificate for fresh graduate engineer?
Okay, for fresh graduate engineers, so sebelum saya, pergi for the details, need to understand apa kita nak jadi, what is your passion, right? I think it's important to identify apa career path that we want to be, what is our passion. Example for me, right? Masa saya intern tu, saya discover that semiconductor is not for me. Kerja di manufacturing is not for me. Because saya cepat rasa boring, saya tak suka buat benda yang sama every time, right? So from there is like my turning point, right? Dari minat saya ke semiconductor, terus okay, semiconductor is not for me, and saya rasa saya tak boleh proceed dengan industry ni anymore. So I need to find alternative. So my alternative that I discovered that I like in oil and gas industry. And the good thing is about this industry is not dealing with automation. You're dealing with people, you're dealing with project, you're dealing with so basically every day the challenge is different. So saya nak suggest find your passion first. Apa kamu nak jadi dengan your career. If you're happy with that one, right, you can go to that route. Okay, you can find a mentor. You can find like a senior engineer into that role. Siapa yang passionate into that one, join the professional body. Then from there you can identify which course that you can take to upskill yourself, right? Yeah.
So yang all the certificate tu when you join the international body kan, professional body, normally dia akan ada seminar, workshop, introduce about this course. So kat situlah kita dapat notice dan kita boleh apply lah once we have time dan sebagainya. Okay, the next question. I heard that it's hard to join into oil and gas industries in overseas, especially if you have no connection in oil and gas background or in ONG background. What's your opinion?
So, saya nak cakap it's partly true because but masa saya first join pun saya don't have any connection. The only thing that I got is my experience and also my master certificate, right? So what I would like to suggest is, I mean, you have you need to have a right skill in order to join. No matter, I mean, you need to have as long as you got right skill, you have a right experience. Example for me, before I joined in the overseas company, right? I work 1.5 year in Technic Malaysia. This is one of the good experience, right? And I got the right quality in order to join the job. So I think that's a start, right? So once you get that, another thing is important is networking, right? So how to find a networking is by joining the professional bodies. Example, I joined Institute of Corrosion UK. That's where I create my networking with other colleague or industry player, subject matter expert in this industry. So saya cakap, as long as you got the right qualities, right degree, right experience, I can say that opportunities are everywhere.
Okay, good. Saya rasa sekarang pun LinkedIn tu one of the main platform juga kan for student untuk find the expert there. Okay, especially untuk tengok, untuk get the information and related to the our interest. Okay, they have one question. Ini soalan assignment ni. Student first year tanya ni. Because we have also material for my subject yang join. Dia bagus dia tanya terus Okay, what are the main properties of materials that are suitable to be used in the oil and gas industry? Soalan bocor lah ni. Boleh tanya panel
Okay,
tu.
all right. So the main properties, right? So the aim for us is to prevent leakage, to prevent corrosion. Not to prevent. We cannot stop corrosion, but we can prevent it. We can control corrosion, right? There are several aspects you nak consider untuk material selection tu. First is economical, right? Okay. Example, kalau reservoir engineer pergi buat survey dekat particular field, okay, dia cakap, okay, we got about we can produce about 20 years of oil from this field. Takkan kita nak build platform yang will to last, yang design last for 100 years. So we need to consider economic aspect into that. Kalau you only can produce for 20 years, kita mungkin design for only last for 25 years. So kalau design for 25 years, kan, kita tak perlu nak guna expensive material. So we use the most commonly used materials and in the process, such as carbon steel. Okay. So kalau based on the design, based on the process, kalau the process the I can say the properties of the produced fluid is very aggressive, is very corrosive, we upgrade to more corrosion resistant alloy, right? Tapi corrosion resistant alloy is 3 times more expensive than carbon steel. Example, kalau asset tu harga 100 juta, kalau kita change to corrosion resistant alloy, is become 300 juta. So dia banyak faktor kita kena consider. So economic aspect and also suitability of the process. So yeah, these two important factor. Tapi the aim is we want to ensure that the process, I mean the material that we select is suitable for the service. Yeah.
Okay, yang lebih tu kena cari sendiri lah Lydia. Okay, so Tun Irfan, sorry for my poor English. Is there any age requirement if you wanted to go to offshore in oil and gas? I was an electrical technician in oil and gas at Johor, and I had that problem last year. I really wanted to join my fellow workmates and a bit jealous when I'm the only one who could not join them due to my age. At that time, the age requirement was 35 years old and above.
Bagi saya, kalau tak ada age limit untuk for oil and gas. I think since you are still young, I would suggest, yeah, one of it is getting extra certificate just to, I mean, make yourself more advantage. Sebab bagi saya, kita kurang awareness about the benefit of having extra certificate, right? Sorry, saya mungkin tak boleh comment from electrical point of view sebab saya don't have awareness, but I can say is from my field, apa saya dapat jumpa is banyak orang-orang muda kita yang contoh macam there's a career option. If example, if you're not good in academic, there are always other opportunity for you in order to join, and you can become like a inspector. I mean basically tak perlu degree pun kan, ada diploma ke, ada high school. Tapi yang buat inspector ni mahal ialah dia punya certificate kan, dia punya skill. Bila kita ada certificate tu, basically it's a ticket for you to demonstrate that you are capable, you got license to do that, right? Example that you can you can get a certificate from TWI, or you can certificate from what I can say, ASME. Like example, like you can become a specialist in inspection, right? Inspection technique, a specialist in welding, right? Boleh jadi welder, offshore welder, etc. Semua tu boleh. Or you can become like a offshore painter, right? Tukang cat tapi kerja kat offshore, kan? Tapi apa tiket dia ialah dia kena dapat certificate. You can get from NACE, coating specialist. You can become coating inspector. You can become a NDT inspector, level 2, level 3, right? Semua tu is the, I can say, the ticket for you to enter this industry.
To add on, kalau kat Malaysia kita panggil apel based on experience ni apel. So even dia tak ada pun degree, dia tak ada pun certain ni, based on dia punya skill tadi, dia boleh dapatkan master dan sebagainya. Okay, a very good question, answers and question as well, I think. So now we move to Afiq Sharmin. We are designing an ocean trash collector, short form dia OTRA CO, Merah of SUS 304 to be operated in seawater, and there is a concern regarding possible corrosion. How do offshore platform columns resist corrosion? Is there a special design consideration to allow for prolonged resistance to corrosion? Very technical ni silakan.
Okay, so yeah, so saya baca use 304 stainless steel, right? So 304 stainless steel memang tak suitable for marine environment, right? So one of the reason why 304 tak sesuai ialah I think it's lack molybdenum, right? So for marine environment, we usually go to 316 stainless steel because it got molybdenum, so it's resistant to pitting corrosion, right? So saya cakap material ni tak sesuai untuk seawater service because exposed to marine environment, right? And it can susceptible to pitting corrosion. And how offshore platform column resist corrosion? Okay, offshore platform column mainly made from carbon steel, right? Carbon steel, this is not bukan corrosion resistant alloy, okay? Tapi how to protect it against corrosion? So we can protect it using coating. So heavy duty coating, right? So it can last, I can say, at least 20 years after exposure to the environment, right? Before coating to rosak or breakdown, right? So apart from coating, they also got secondary protection, which is catalytic protection. We use sacrificial anode. So sacrificial anode, kita guna connect dengan structure tu, kita put aluminium bar dekat platform tu. So kenapa saya panggil secondary? Benda ni only react when coating start to fail. Okay. Coating is our main barrier to protect against corrosion. Bila coating tu dah rosak, ia akan sacrificial anode tu akan start work to protect the structure against corrosion. So this is how we protect offshore platform column against corrosion. So so I hope I answer your question.
Okay, I think this is cover also assignment untuk yang first year tu. Banyak jawapan dekat situ. Okay, so we go to the next question. As per your mention previously, you invested in yourself using your own expenses as one of your previous employer refused to sponsor you due to the lack of budget. Does this mean that in this country, whenever we have the initiative or taking additional course or certifications, it is highly possible to be applying for sponsorship by the company we working in?
Okay, saya pernah nampak, correct me if I'm wrong lah. Macam dekat Malaysia kita ada kan scheme at least subsidized by semi-government bodies untuk kos-kos macam ni kan. So kalau jumpa macam ni, apply je ambil sebab saya tahu cost for international I can say international cost ni is quite expensive. For example, API 570 yang saya ambil kat Malaysia cost about 10,000 ringgit untuk cost tu. Okay. Tu belum masuk exam lagi kan. Tu just untuk belajar course tu. I think exam for another 4,000. So saya boleh cakap dalam total yang 15,000 untuk dapat satu certificate tu. Okay.
Tapi it worth it lah Azri, dapat masuk
For
Shell.
me, it's worth it. Okay, sebab I just give advantage to you when you're looking for new opportunity, right? Kalau you macam for me, after 5 years in Repsols, saya rasa macam stagnant. I need something. I need to go explore another opportunity. I got a few interview in Middle East as well, but I got a job in Shell, so I opt to go to Shell, right? Because I think in terms of thinking about future prospect, I think it's better for me to to get a job in Shell, right? For the long run, right? But for me, I want to play long game instead of the short game, right? So yeah, that's the reason why I made my choice. Yeah. So yeah, I think kalau kat Malaysia, kalau tak silap saya kalau SHRDC, Selangor Human Resource, kan? Dr. Rabiza, ada kan body tu? Saya pernah nampak dulu dia ada bagi macam subsidized training course. So keep looking because I think kat Malaysia opportunity tu everywhere. Yeah.
I think effort untuk find out tu that's the most important, because jangan tunggu peluang tu datang, memang tak akan datang. Sebab sekarang ni dunia sangat kompetitif, everyone looking for the job, everyone looking for the better opportunity. So kalau you tunggu durian jatuh tu, mungkin lah kan durian memang nature dia akan jatuh, tapi sekarang pun orang dah kait kan, sebab nak jaga quality dan sebagainya. So that same with the SSO. So we need to go and find the job, not kerja tu yang datang cari kita. Okay, kerana betul, ada banyak. Even I think I believe one of my colleague dekat UiTM ni di sponsor untuk ambil certain certificate about non-destructive testing NDT. So it's very costly juga, I think. Kalau yang ni ada lecturer lain kena Dr. Bibi kan, dia di sponsor. So a lot of courses ni memang kalau ada keperluan dari segi industri tersebut, okay, ada saya pernah dengar industri contoh macam Toray dia sponsor dia punya staff untuk ambil dia panggil energy punya courses untuk install their own inilah electrical punya generation. So dia kena belajar dari segi sustainability energy semua tu, and company memang invest on that. So but of course if we have macam our own driving force tadi tu macam Azri buat, so it's a very good initiative actually. Okay, we go to the next question.
Sorry Rabiza, Dr. Rabiza, saya nak emphasize lah. Contoh macam my previous employer, saya cakap saya nak jadi ni, saya nak ambil ni, tapi sebab budget, dia orang decide, okay no. Don't let other to, I can say, jangan biar benda lain yang menghalang apa yang kita nak. Okay, so kalau kita percaya macam benda ni boleh help us, and contoh macam employer, okay, decided not to sponsor, one of the way is we can use our own initiative, right? Because for them, they orang tak see the value, but for us, if you see the value, just go for it, kan? Jangan bagi macam kan say other party to become penghalang untuk apa yang kita nak, apa yang kita minat, kan? So you got your own control. You are the one who control your destiny. Don't let others to control your destiny.
Betul. Okay, so the next question, Amirul Aidil. I'm really interested to become a welding engineer in oil and gas industry. What is the requirement to become a welding engineer? Is the demand for welding engineer nowadays still high?
Yes, I can say it's quite a good career option because welding engineer is very in demand, especially in the fabrication. Example fabrication, joining prospect tu banyak, luas, okay? So saya cakap yes, it's in demand. So in order to become that, I would like to suggest you, take course lah. TWI, the Welding Institute, from the Welding Institute is one of the I can say world recognized body for welding. So they offer several courses for welding. To become I think kat Malaysia kita pun ada TWI. So I think you can probably in contact with them or cari linking connection welding engineer and asking their opinion, because dia orang boleh guide you. Saya rasa macam all the experienced engineer, the well established, they are happy to help. Especially yalah, orang Malaysia, anak bangsa kita, as long as you show your willingness to learn, you show the effort kan, memang seronok nak tolong kan. Kalau orang yang minta tolong tu tunjuk effort, because we want everyone to be succeed, because I think the career prospect is luas, peluang tu luas. Cuma masalah dengan I can see dengan bangsa kita ialah kita kurang dapat pendedahan, exposure into this industry. So kalau nak jadi welding engineer, yes, cari welding engineer kat linking connection ke apa, and ask them, okay, what is the steps to become a welding engineer? Yeah, because I think welding engineer is because it's more on hands-on experience, right, rather than more on theoretical. And another things that help, welding engineer is in metallurgy. If there's any subject related to metallurgy, ambil subject tu, because it help to build your profile become a strong candidate if there's any requirement to become. I mean, there's a vacancy for welding engineer. Yeah, so that's the right quality. Yeah.
Okay, so far this is the last question, but I hope student boleh post lagi soalan untuk seterusnya. From Muhammad Nabil Irfan, I want to know if there are other professions on offshore platform that are not necessarily related to engineering. For example, like a paramedic or financial analyst.
Okay. Actually banyak. Okay. Profession. Okay, this is saya assume this question is kerja offshore. Okay. Saya nak cakap, okay, saya tak kerja offshore, saya mainly office based, tapi saya sometimes pergi offshore untuk buat site survey or untuk familiarize dengan platform tu, so that it help me to do my day to day job. Okay, so untuk platform profession dekat platform ada banyak. Okay, so you can become offshore medic. Okay, kalau ada medical background nak join offshore, yeah, it's a quite good career option as well. Kalau you a chef, kan, pandai masak ke apa, caterer ke apa, yeah, there's an option to become a, offshore, cook or chef, and which is, I think the pay is much better because it's considered, daily allowance, the risk, right, and also, yeah. Apa lagi? Boleh jadi offshore inspector. I think this is a very, very good pay position, right? Dapat instead of jadi because yalah, anything kalau kerja offshore tu, kalau kita buat kat onshore, kita boleh buat kat offshore, yeah, it's basically it's probably 2 or 3 times better in term of salary to see, yeah. So I can say that banyak profession yang boleh di offshore, ada di offshore, yeah.
Okay, thank you Encik Azri. Tadi pun ada kan yang tukang cat kan, itu semua tak ada lah perlukan basic engineering dan sebagainya, tetapi saya percaya training tu tetap quite intensive training lah untuk lepas ke offshore tu ada dia punya apa dia punya boleh saya rasa ini one of the question lah kan. Untuk pergi ke offshore tu perlu ada a few like exercise training, and then baru dia akan issue the certificate kan untuk enter the offshore, bukan simply boleh pergi lah.
Yes, so untuk qualify untuk kerja offshore, kena buat medical check to ensure that fit for offshore, right? To one of the requirement. And the second thing is you need to ambil BOSET. BOSET is like a basic offshore. Saya lupa dia punya acronym. Tapi dia macam buat training for you in case kalau kalau get accident during helicopter ke apa, so it give you exposure what you gonna do during emergency escape from helicopter, kan?
Okay, so we have another question from Muhammad Irfan Akif. What do you mean by you feel stagnant at the previous company?
Okay, saya rasa stagnant sebab saya buat the similar stuff for 5 years, right? Tapi the challenge still, I mean, become get used. Saya dah jadi macam routine, kan? So I think compare kalau dengan semiconductor, saya rasa saya boleh last probably 3 bulan je. Tapi dalam ini saya rasa 5 tahun for me is stagnant because for me Repsol is not a big company, it's quite small, and in UK, saya cakap in UK dia punya asset dekat offshore is tak banyak. Okay, so end up saya rasa macam I'm doing a routine stuff and there's no more, I can say, opportunity for me to grow, right? Example, saya rasa macam I want this kind of training, and one of the reason why my previous boss declined because she said that basically, kita nak apply this kind of knowledge is not necessary because I think we are very I mean, a small company, there's no room for new opportunity. There's no new project coming, right? We just maintain the existing platform, right? So that's the thing for me is quite stagnant. Compared to Shell, it's 10 times bigger. So it got worldwide asset, right? It also got offshore platform, it got onshore gas processing, right? It also got a lot of new project coming in, right? So the opportunity is big, right? So that is the thing that motivate me to join other company rather than stagnant because for me is I mean yeah you are your own you are the one who chart your own destiny, so you make your choice, and yeah, if you got better opportunity, yeah, just go for it. So that's how I felt stagnant after 5 years in my previous company.
Okay, we have one question from Alia Asri. Can you share the benefits of working with Shell? What motivated you to keep working with them?
Okay, so I can say that Shell, is the second largest oil and gas company in the world after ExxonMobil, and it has been consistently rated as a best employer in the UK, right? So in term of development, in term of, I can say a lot of aspect in term of training. Example that I want to become a subject matter expert in this corrosion engineering, right? So I've discussed this with my line manager, and he agreed to put me in a technical authority course, right? So I can become like I can say one of the career paths for me to become a subject matter expert is to become a technical authority. So I can basically give authority to sign any like if there's any, yeah, it's like a, what is the analogy? Okay, kalau you kat Malaysia kan, you perlukan sign daripada IR or untuk approve this project etc kan, untuk so you got this opportunity, you got this authority. So that's the one in terms of development of yourself. So this is a very good company to develop yourself, and also every 4 years there's opportunity for you to go to other part of Shell, right? Example, I work in the UK in 3 years time, so I got opportunity probably to move to other part of the Shell in the world. Example, I aim to work in Qatar, which is because Shell got a big presence there. Pearl GTL is JV between Qatar Energy, so I want to expose to that environment, right? So in 3 years time, inshallah, if everything go as per plan, or I can go to Brunei to join Brunei Shell Petroleum. So in terms of international mobility is quite common within Shell because they encourage people to grow. One of the things to grow is just go to different segment in the industry. So that's one of the, I can say, motivate me to work with Shell, and same time in terms of colleague, you see they are very very capable. They are, as you know, to join Shell is not an easy path, right? I joined Shell as an experienced hire because I think I don't have chance to join them as a during graduate because they choose only the best, right? It's not only academic, but I think you need to have leadership. You need to work very well rounded in order to become to join them as a graduate. So what I can say is there are always opportunity for you to join. If you, I can say, have the right quality, have the right experience, right? I can say, as long as you work hard and got proper experience, there's always opportunity for you to join. Like a major company like Shell, yeah.
So in other way, gaji pun banyak lah kan, share compared to other company. Kan. Tapi of course big companies their career progress to the staff tu dia punya support system, okay, how the way they grooming, because they want to create a leader. So therefore they macam Aziz share tadi, dia willing to macam bagi courses, attend here and there untuk build their skills so that become an expert or even a leader lah to the team. Okay, for student jangan lupa isi attendance sebelum kita habis sesi. I think almost finished now. So we already post the link. Please fill lah dengan nama yang betul lah, sebab nanti dia auto generate your email certificate tu. So kalau you letak nama pendek, so CJ you nama pendek nanti. So tak boleh nak pakai untuk kerja. So ini one of your boleh gunalah kan dalam CV nanti dan sebagainya. So make sure letak nama yang betul dengan bukan nama samaran dan sebagainya, and then masukkan email yang betul juga. Kalau tak, you tak receive lah nanti the certificate. Okay, last round, any further questions to
Ada
Mr.
satu lagi,
Azlan?
Dr. Riza.
Ya, silakan. Oh, ada satu. Okay, Assalamualaikum sir. Aiman bin Sulaiman ni student saya ni. I would like to ask, what do you do when a company have controversy that surrounds it? Controversy.
So Muhammad Arman, boleh elaborate apa contoh kontroversi so that I could I can say explain my answer correctly.
Dia orang bukan belajar whistleblower lah apa ni, tanya yang tu lah kot Aiman, boleh buka you punya speaker dan cakap tengok what do you mean by that? Gossiping ke apa, kontroversi berkaitan dengan apa? Contoh-contoh,
Assalamualaikum
yes.
sir. I would like to ask about controversy from forms of mismanagement, or more, I think it's more about public opinion about the company itself. So how as an employee of that company should we how to macam nak hadap lah masalah tu.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the question, right? So, saya share pengalaman. Okay, basically kerja dengan oil and gas company ni, basically perception dia, basically people narrate is a very polluting industry, okay? It's contribute to, I can say, CO2 gas emission to environment, which could contribute to, I can say green gas effect, etc. Okay, so basically in reality it's not that bad. Okay, kalau kita nak tengok in term of industry, one of the most polluting industry in the world is fast fashion. Okay, so example kalau brand macam H&M, Zara, etc. fast fashion industry. Okay, so it's one of the most polluting industry in the world as well, and also in farming industry also one of the most polluting. Example, bela lembu kan, macam lembu also emit. I mean, example Brazil is one of the biggest beef producer in the world. It emit methane to the environment, which contribute to the greenhouse effect, right? But obviously, because of oil and gas, dah lama very established, so it always become a target. So for us as I can say normal employee, for this industry, we all already got our own legal and I can say public relation department that deal with this kind of controversy. They are the one that deal with I can say with this kind of issue. If you got any protest or if you got any any controversy, they are the one who will deal with this. So for us, we just take a step back. We're not involved with any confrontation. We just do our job as normal, right? The most important thing is if we have our informed, awareness and decision. Example that they say that okay, if you drive electric car, right, you are basically saving environment. But in reality, is it true, right? In order to manufacture an electric car, right, you need a lithium, you need other cobalts, etc., right? In this kind of raw materials, you cannot produce it. From I can say from a synthetic stuff. You need to mine it. So as you know, mining is one of the I can say it's a very environmental destructive industry. So, but the people, I mean, people perception doesn't see that, right? So there's a study, right? In order for you to contribute to the net zero, I mean, if you drive electric car, right, in order to contribute to the net zero, because you need manufacturing as well, you need other process as well. You require to drive it for 7 years in order to contribute to net zero uh, by driving electric car. And electric car usually have like a 10 years of battery capacity before the battery went kaput, right? So you only got three years left. I mean, after 7 years, you contribute to the net zero. So I can say it's more on perception. It's more on how a big industry player play their narrative, to benefit themselves. As long as we got our informed decision, we read. I mean, we use our engineering thinking, right, to know what is the main contribution and how we can contribute to the environment is the more important. I can say that my role is very really help the environment, because as long as the materials, I mean the design being designed properly using the right materials, we are preventing any accident, we're preventing any leak. So basically by that I can say contribution. So I already contribute to the environment. So I design it correctly. So to ensure that there's no waste, there's no leaking, there's no pollution to the environment. So that's my take into this, Alman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Aiman, for the question, and also Azri for the answers. Okay, now I think we come to the end. Before we end the session, I would like Mr. Azri to give some summary and also probably last word to our students for their career, probably.
Okay, so yep, I will first of all, I would like to have a special thank to the organizer for inviting me and giving me opportunity to share my experience. I really hope that basically, I mean, all the participants get, I mean, at least awareness or and also learn something from my experience. I also attended the previous presentation uh by sorry by Dr. Sorry, Dr. Sirabisa. Who's the previous presenter?
Kita ada 3 sebelum tu. So yang sebelum your session is TS Dr. Apa nama dia? Syahdan. Yes.
Yeah, Indra. Sorry. Okay,
Indra,
Dr.
yeah,
Indra.
Indra.
Yeah. So I can say that, yeah, Dr. Indra also give quite a good, I can say, motivational and also inspiration to all of you. And I really hope I also give a similar inspiration and awareness to all of you. And I would like to wish you all the good luck and, yeah, in your, I mean, career journey once you finish your study. And my tip is, yeah, actively looking for opportunity, and yeah, don't I can say give up. And yeah, that's mainly everything from my side. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Azri, for your sharing, for your time, okay, for your, I can say, very inspiration as well to the students, okay, from how, from local university, you can expand yourself to international level, and then it's never too late to start with anything. So it's just about yourself, take a right moment to move yourself from one level to another. So thanks again for, I can say, spending your weekend, early morning as well, to join us from Scotland. And inshallah, come back to Malaysia and visit us. And then from School of Mechanical Engineering, we really appreciate your participation with us and also your willingness to share with us and also contributing today. So before I end, is it PM Dr. Bulan or Dr. Fauzi? Do you have any words to our speaker? Okay, so everyone open the camera. Tu ada yang minta link in, nanti Azri boleh type sikit link in nama tu. So then on camera saya nak ambil gambar untuk kenangan kita lah. Okay. So smile semua. 1, 2, go. One more. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. So dengan itu saya harap sesi hari ini memberi inspirasi, pengalaman, knowledge dan juga membantu para pelajar untuk menjadi bina untuk plan your career dan juga of course lah towards your professional career insyaAllah in future. So I also thank our organizer full effort from Dr. Fauzi and also our program director, Professor Madya IRTS Dr. Bulan. Okay, and then to all students, thank you so much for participate today. And insyaAllah, we will see you guys later in next program. So thank you everyone. Have a good weekend. InsyaAllah boleh dapatkan recording webinar. Nanti kita tanya pihak Dr. Bulan boleh bagi ke tak kat student kan. Okay, mereka submit assignment dulu lah kan. Submit assignment baru kita bagi. Baru fair lah. Nanti kata dia tak datang kan. Dia boleh buat kan. Budak-budak zaman sekarang ni bukan tak tahu. But I believe daripada sini semua orang dapat inspirasi. And then insyaAllah kita ialah saya depan batch baru lah pula kan. Jangan repeat sudah lah. Okay. Terima kasih banyak semua. Have your nice weekend. Kita jumpa lagi di lain hari dan lain aktiviti insyaAllah. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Bye.
Alright.
Thank
Bye-bye
you,
semua.
madam. Thank you,
Terima kasih.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Thank you, sir. Thank you.